Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's up, Panther fans? Tony Dunn here, C3 Panthers Podcast. It's Tuesday night. It's 9 o'clock, and we're chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. The C3 gang continues to expand on Twitter. The gang color is processed blue. Man, we've got a great show for you tonight on Tuesday, and it starts with a little disrespect. Man, Panther fans, we're used to this. Bryce Young disrespected as schedule release looms. The schedule, I think, was supposed to be out already. It's not. We're all waiting.
Thursday.
We get our first schedule leak from a player's mom. We've got some things to talk about with this defense going forward. And, man, there's some questions about, is Bryce Young getting the proper respect for what the number one overall pick should get, or people falling in love with big, beautiful black men like Anthony Richardson? It seems like they have.
Or not to, right?
I know. But hey, guys, we can only control what we can control. We're going to go out there. We're going to take care of business. And we're going to show them that the Panthers are number one, just like the C3 Panthers Podcast is. And I'm here with Cody Lashney. My wheel man. Welcome back.
Tony Dunn. I am on one tonight, man. You might think, or some people might think, that I'm just a Panther fan perceiving slights somewhere, thinking that it's some us against the world situation. No, damn it. No, I fight back against it. The slander against the Carolina Panthers is unreal, and it's so underneath the radar, which makes it all the more disrespectful. We're going to get in that tonight. We're going to talk about what part of the schedule we're most excited about learning about, what games we're going to be looking for. Is it going to be prime time, Monday Night Football, all that different type of stuff. And we're going to be talking a little bit tonight about Jeremy Chinn moving around different positions. We have so much to talk about, but you know we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, and the list keeps on growing. Tony Dunn, you know the guys: Drew, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Brandon R, D's Ill Skills, what up, baby? Flab the Duck, Jake the Snake FSU, Joshua Hall, Just Don't Care, JD Young, what's up, bro? Lynn Leonhart, Matt JF, Sean Hume, Smells Like Blue, Supreme Leader Z, Tim Estes, Trap X, Underground West, Tin Tizzy, and that boy White Chocolate Espresso. Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Big shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes. I can't even talk tonight. Carolina Hurricanes tonight, coming off of a rebound. They were going to be my ice up pick as they fell 8-4 2 nights ago, but getting a big win on the road, or it looks like they're slated to get that win. Period number 3 opens up 6-1 lead for the Carolina Panthers. My favorite player, Marty Nashis, has gotten 2 goals to start that beat down off. So way to go, Carolina Hurricanes. Is much needed win on the road, something that has been very difficult for them to secure in the playoffs over the last 2 years.
And Tony, before we go forward, dude, how about we have the best Panther fans? Just really don't care with the 5 gifted memberships. Yo, Just Don't Care is always blessing gifted memberships in the chat. And then your boy OG himself, Tin Tizzy, with the 10 gifted super chats, man. This chat room is filled to the brim with green names. And just as I say that, Just Don't Care with another 5 memberships for people in the chat room. So in the span of no time, that's 20 extra memberships. Yo, we appreciate y'all tremendously, man. Awesome.
I think it puts us over. That should put us over. We're close to 175 super fans, which is awesome. I think that's a great gift right there. It's like, it's a way to give a super chat and to make other people in the chat. It's ultimately part of the part of the club.
Right.
The C3 Super Fan Club is growing, and it's going to be eligible for some primetime giveaways coming up in the future as we get closer to football. So a lot of cool things. Cody, or CK, should I say? His name is Cody, but he goes by CK here. How you doing, man? Papa, we saw the little baby. She was on the mic.
Yep.
She was letting the pipes out. She's ready for the podcasting world. She's a Panther fan for life already. How's it going?
Oh man, it's going well. It's going well. It was tough for the first couple of weeks. My wife was dealing with a sinus infection, while also having to deal with sleep deprivation amongst other things. So it was tough, man. But we're on the mend. Things started today to feel like they were back to some sense of normalcy, and we're just trying to get her to sleep anywhere other than our arms at this point in time. But
yeah, that's the difficult part.
You got that arm sickness.
Yeah. So it is what it is, man. But I'm listen, today, here's my mission for the next week. You would think for the past 2 weeks I've been off of work, that I've had all the time in the world to absorb all the Panthers content possible. I haven't watched an interview. I haven't the draft night was the only thing I was there for, and I didn't see their interviews afterwards. I didn't watch Mingo's. I didn't watch anybody's tape. I haven't watched the press conferences of anybody. So right now, man, I'm coming in here as a baby, and I'm going to need everybody's help catching me up to speed about what's been going on in Panthers Nation, because I have been lacking heavily on that front.
My little sister had just had her 4th child, and the oldest is 6. So she has 4 kids under the age of 6. And I thought that we went hard in the paint with 3. And I think our oldest was 5. Then we went 3 and new. And I used to always say this: if you want to break a fucking terrorist, man, just drop the kids off with them in the room and make them stay in that room right there. And so be like, take care of my kids, mofo. He'll be coughing up all the names. Be giving up all shit right there. Greg's in the house. How you doing, my friend? The beard looking healthy tonight.
Oh man, it's looking really good. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm starting to get to that really nice phase in the beard where it's not uncomfortable anymore. And the Panthers just got to win a playoff game, and then I'm gonna be getting rid of it. But it's the playoff beard. I said it last year. So something. I was thinking,
you look like you're on Duck Dynasty, bro.
I was thinking right before we started this show, like, it's kind of off topic, but I absolutely hate political news. And you know what I hate even more than political news sometimes is fucking sports news, man, because they piss me off so bad in sports news and sports media.
Oh, you're feeling the disrespect. Yeah, you said it was coming. You said the disrespect was coming. But this is the thing. This is what happens when you are, and I meant this a lot when we were talking about Bryce Young being he's the safe candidate in so many ways. He's got everything, but there's not one thing that pops. He's not polarizing. It's not polarizing. It's just everybody likes him, but that's not enough to generate a lot of conversation. And then when you see Anthony Richardson like snapping off 60-yard passes from his knees or whatever, you fall in love. And the media is in love right now.
That's what I'm saying. But just like right before the draft, it was all Bryce Young. Everybody's Carolina's stupid if they don't pick Bryce Young. And I guarantee you, if we'd have picked Anthony Richardson, they'd have told us we were dumb for doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb for I have so much energy.
And now it's, yes, I know this is your thing, Cody.
Yeah, dude, it's my motivating factor for doing the podcast tonight. We're about to dunk on all these idiots in media that turn face as soon as the draft is over. But we'll get into it.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. We want to hear your thoughts on kind of how football is, or the football discussion that's unfolding. This, guys, right now, we're entering what will be the slowest time of football season. We've got 2 months where we're probably going to have to maybe talk about some TV shows or something up here a little bit, sneak in some jokes or something, because let's just go ahead and jump in and let's talk about this. What are we starting with? Are we starting with Bryce Young, or are we starting with what's up first?
Yeah, so we are going to start with Bryce Young. And one of the earliest bit of news that came out was our coach had a very lofty comparison for our boy Bryce Young. He says it confirmed what we know and thinking and already knew, that he has a level of football IQ that is on par with Peyton Manning. And this is really kind of made the rounds. A lot of people were talking about this, but then a lot of people also had a problem with it, saying that it was a little bit too much of a lofty comparison. To me, I think it's perfect, because the reason that you draft a 5'10.5", 195-pound quarterback is because of the off the charts IQ. So this is not crazy to me. This is not weird. It's not too much of a bad comparison. I actually love it, man. And
that's exactly why you draft him. That was his
100%.
That was what he was sold as.
But here's the thing, like with him saying that, doesn't he have to say that? Like no matter what you truly think of him, you have to say that.
You didn't
There's
have to
no
say
way you
that
draft.
guy.
No,
You didn't
there's
have
no
to say
way.
Peyton Manning.
There is no way you draft this guy on the basis of his IQ in football and do not say something like this.
Right, but he didn't have to say that player.
Right. You didn't have to
pick somebody else.
He could have said, here's the thing. He could have avoided comparisons altogether. We've seen them do that in the past, right? He could have said, listen, I'm not going to compare him to anybody else, but I'll tell you, his football IQ is incredible. It's one of the best that I've seen. That it could be as simple as that. But the fact that he did say Peyton Manning, I mean, listen, I agree. I think that this is the reason that this guy was drafted was his ability to make quick decisions that most of the time turns out to be the right decision. He's accurate. He's very he's on point. I don't know how else to say it. So I mean, when you talk about his football IQ, I think that it's not hard to look at the parallel between a guy like Peyton Manning and Bryce Young. The biggest the people that are going to have the biggest quarrel with that is going to be the size difference between the two of those guys. And the fact
but
that
he's just saying intellect there, right?
Sure. But at the same time, where Peyton Manning had a bit of a benefit is he had the intellect and the size, right? And I think that's where people are probably talking about this not being a great comparison, because in all honesty, they're going to be completely two separate styles of play. To be fair.
Well, I heard Chris Sims say this when he was talking about quarterbacks. He said, look, everybody in the league is great. Right. He said, all these guys are great athletes. They're great. Look at the offensive linemen are great athletes. He said, but the elite players have they have at least one trait that is elite. Right. Is when he looks at these kind of these talents coming out, and it's like, all right, so with Josh Allen, it was his arm strength. Right. It's like this arm is better than even the regular quarterbacks in the league. Right. I think that Bryce Young's elite trait is this. That's what we've been told. It's like, if it's not his arm strength, it's not his size, it's not his whatever. This is the elite trait where he is his study habits, all of this. And the one thing I do have, and maybe I'm already going into Papa Bear, protect Bryce Young mode.
Do it. You should.
Yeah.
But I get like the people that are like, oh, well, we should make this comparison. Well, you know what? They said the same shit about Andrew Luck. Nobody's crying about that. And do you remember when Tony Dungy, now this one was after the fact, so I don't know if it might be the best analogy, but Tony Dungy comes out, it was probably 2 years ago, a year and a half. You remember that comment he said the first day of practice and Andrew Luck's audibling at the line and doing all this shit. And he's like, I'd never seen a rookie do anything like this. This is why we drafted Bryce Young.
Yes.
This is what his superpower is. That's why it's not his size. It's not his strength. It's his elite trait, his understanding of the football game and that quick mental twitch.
Hey, here's one other piece that I'll add to this. Bryce Young has the potential to be better than Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning his only elite trait was his IQ as well. Like he could throw the ball, and I'm not saying he couldn't throw the ball deep, but it wasn't elite arm talent, right? The dude wasn't like corking out 70-yard bombs.
Now he threw a duck all the time. Remember them ducky passes he always threw?
Right. And so when you look at the difference, here's the difference between Peyton Manning and Bryce Young. And this is why I don't think that's a good comparison, to be honest with you, is Peyton Manning had to be a statue in the pocket. And Bryce Young is going to be able to be shifty and get outside of escape pressure. And so there's going to be pros and cons to both of these guys. And I think Bryce Young has the potential to be a better, I think he has more elite traits outside of his height.
Yeah, and Tony, we should defend him. We should defend him. even though he hasn't played a snap, we need to get defensive about Bryce Young it's because of what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
The disrespect is already real. Okay, so you already know we already built it up a bunch talking about it. So let's just get into it, right?
Well,
Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
let me be clear real quick because I see stuff in the chat room right now. I am behind Bryce Young, and I want Bryce Young to do well, and I think that he can. I'm 100% behind him. That doesn't mean I don't need to see it also.
Of
I
course.
still need to see it, but I'm behind him 100%.
Well, you
Everyone
can
needs to
you
prove
can Greg, you can point out the hypocrisy as well, right? You can point out the fact that everybody was jumping on the Bryce train to be the number one pick in the NFL draft, right? Everybody, every single media pundit, outside of the select few that were saying CJ Stroud was going to be number one, you can still be a bit, lukewarm on the idea of Bryce Young being the franchise quarterback, and at the same time call out the hypocrisy of the sports media for literally the moment he becomes a Carolina Panther, having things like we're about to talk about happen.
Yeah, and we're gonna need to support him because, and it's like what CK just alluded to. This entire draft process, as we were breaking down the differences between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, whenever you listen to the people that get paid to comb over the film and give their reviews of all the players, you almost unanimously to a man, except for Chris Sims and a certain other few, they said that Bryce Young unanimously has the best film out of any quarterback in this year's class, that he's miles ahead of everyone else. When it comes to his process and defenses, making checks at the line of scrimmage, his evasion of pressure, the young man does everything at the very highest level, right? Then to top it all off, the Carolina Panthers, even at the end of the season, were still contending for the NFC South crown. So it's not like this football team is a dumpster fire, bottom of the barrel football team. Well, today, PFF, they put out their rookies primed for a breakout. And sure enough, they have the quarterback that everyone said would need more time to develop and be prepared and be ready to play football in Anthony Richardson, a player that we don't even know 100% sure if he's going to be the starter or not. Now, Frank Reich is also saying that Andy Dalton is going to get the first team reps to start out, but literally everyone and their mama knows that the plan is for Bryce Young to be the number one quarterback going into the season, to start the season for the Carolina Panthers. So why is it that all of these media conglomerates, NBC and PFF and all these other publications, whenever they put out their rookie of the year contenders or offensive rookie of the year contenders, you almost never see Bryce Young? The slides against the Carolina Panthers are dumb, they're ridiculous, and they are writing off this football team like they always have.
So I want to at least clarify on one thing. The Colts have come out and said Anthony Richardson is their starter, period. They've already made that abundantly clear. Yeah. And so my question is, and this is where I was going to go with this, to play some devil's advocate on this. Do you believe that this is going to be because the Panthers have not said Bryce Young is going to be the starter, even though I think the majority of the fan base would be angry if week one they rolled out Andy Dalton instead of Bryce Young, right? If they, in fact, if is there a part of you that believes that this is the reason that list is the way that it is, because there's a chance that Bryce Young isn't even the starter?
Not for me, because while they may not believe, for some reason, may not believe Bryce Young is a starter week one, they've got to expect Bryce Young is going to play at some point in time of the season, and you can break out in 3 or 4 games, as a rookie. So for me, no.
But also,
I think this is a perfect example of what gets good clicks is making a list and leaving off somebody who's supposed to be up there. My friend told me about this. It's like a great trick is like, say, top 5 Panthers and leave off Luke Kuechly's name, and it will go bananas, right? It will go bananas. So I think that some of that may be
clickbait or
Yeah,
pandering.
and it's in a time like I said, we're about to enter the dead zone time, right? Where we're kind of searching for
We've entered it.
stories, right? And this is the time we always say you don't want to see somebody get injured or get arrested on your team.
Right.
Yeah.
So like this is a way to generate conversation, is these are the names too that are exciting, that are controversial. Right. And if you put Bryce Young up here in this list, it's not like people are going to be like, oh, Bryce shouldn't be on the list. You get more talk about it by leaving them off the list than you do by putting them on the list. And
can I also put this into perspective too? Bryce, I mean, it's not a wrong list, right? Anthony Richardson does have the potential to have a breakout year because the truth of the matter is Bryce Young isn't going to be the guy coming out here throwing 500 yards a game, right? That's not the game Bryce Young needs to play. Bryce Young needs to be a smart quarterback who's not giving the ball to the other team, who's able to convert third and shorts, right? Who's able to, move the ball down the field, right? I would like him to be able to be the guy who's throwing for 5,000 yards in this first rookie season, right? But I don't think that's a reality, right? I think Anthony Richardson has the potential to throw for 3,000 yards and run for another 1,500 on top of that. So I think when you look at what's going to be, getting the most, let's be real about it, what's going to be getting the most highlight reels is going to be Anthony Richardson. At the end of the year, stats wise, from the efficiency is going to go hands down QBR to Bryce Young from everything that we've seen.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. I mean, I think if you look at how the offensive line is built, if you look at how the weapons are built, I mean, yeah, I think that Bryce could have an incredible season where he does have all the numbers that maybe we're not expecting him to have. The reason why I even wanted to bring it up is that I kind of disagree with you, Tony. I don't think this is just some tactic for clicks to try and get people to, nah. To me, it is a 1-for-1 correlation with the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was so completely pro Bryce Young before the draft. And now, I mean, Tony, if you look around, most lists do not have Bryce Young as a odds-on favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year or the offensive player of the year.
Now that's insane.
It's the dumbest shit in the world, man. And it is true that the Carolina Panthers are viewed by the national media as like we're the runts of the NFL. We're ineffectuous. Nobody cares what the Panthers do, how we finish. We'll be middle of the road or worse, and that's just going to be what the Carolina Panthers are. But you know what? I might be mad right now, but I love that for our football team. I love that we have such a talented young football team that the media is blatantly disrespecting to give them enough bulletin board material to come out and smack people around like the Panthers are known to do, baby.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Cody, I agree with you 100%. Like, this is a total disrespect thing, and that was the point I was going to bring up too. Tony, you said that like they do this and it makes people talk about it, but it makes us talk about it. The media is not talking about Carolina right now. Every podcast I listen to, even the ones that went over the draft, skipped over the first pick and started at number 2. Like, they are giving Carolina no respect at all.
Why do you think
it's
they
crazy.
disrespect us? Why do you
Smart,
think like
small
where
market?
We're not flashy.
It's small
we
market.
don't have a Cam Newton anymore to draw all the attention to us.
Let's also be real about it. When's the last time we were relevant?
Yeah,
I mean, we almost won the
when
division
the last
year.
time the Colts were relevant?
I mean, the Colts
I
are a
tell you
bigger
this,
market
I
than
think
Bears. You
that's,
know?
now, I
great
do, the
point.
market thing is real, and I know people don't like fans don't want to hear that. But when you have a generational reach as a team, do you know when we made trades with like for Darnold or whatever, and how many bumps our videos would get just because it's like you could be a Jets podcast and they are not even good, and you can do mad numbers and not even be good as a podcast. And like these guys have it's something that we're really trying to create here. And the little babies in that process blue are a big part of it. And getting a damn Super Bowl will be a giant part of us continuing to.
That's the hope with Bryce Young. If we can maintain a level of success that keeps us in the conversation in the media on a regular basis. If I'm being real with you, the reason that Anthony Richardson's at the top of that list,
because he's going to be a number one fantasy player this year.
It's not even that too, but it's not even just a matter of their market being bigger. You know how many fans have transplanted to the Colts because of one person? Pat McAfee.
Oh,
Pat McAfee, his entire show. If there's anything Colts related, it's the Colts. It's the Pat McAfee Colts show, right? If there's any, and that's for pretty much the entire 3 hours they talk.
We
about
got
that.
Steve Smith coming for you.
Well, Steve Smith is still dealing with the same stuff. I mean, I love his podcast, but he's not getting the reach that he deserves with his personality.
He's building it. He's got to build it. He's going to have to build it. It doesn't come overnight.
Yeah, can I tell you what'll make the media, I think, give us a little more attention? I mean, there's a couple of things, obviously, but a division win would give us a little attention. But I'll tell you what the best thing: back-to-back winning seasons.
Amen.
Yes.
Back-to-back winning seasons
consistency, dude,
means you have some kind of relevance and you are building something.
That was always
put that together.
That was always the reason that, I think, again, why we're disrespected is that, but also even when we've had a quarterback at the helm. Like, that's always been the criticism for Cam Newton and Ron Rivera, is they were never able to, tie those things together. Everyone wants to talk about the 3 back-to-back NFC South
but one was on a losing season.
Exactly. It was a losing season. One of the first times that's happened in the entire NFL.
Guess what? He's done it again. He did it again with the Commanders.
Exactly.
Ron Rivera is the king of backing it up.
Trying to go get Andrew Luck. Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's funny.
He is?
Oh, you didn't hear that? Yeah.
I saw Irsay say that if somebody talks to him, it's tampering, but I didn't know where the murmurs.
Yeah, the Commanders were rumored, have wanted to reach out to Andrew Luck about him returning, and this is like he hadn't called Cam Newton yet, so he's gonna call Andrew Luck. That's kind of wild. People were also fighting because they needed something to fight about. Between North Carolina and South Carolina, on Twitter and in the chat. But White Chocolate Espresso says South Carolina better than North Carolina because us South Carolina people know how to tip. Hey, appreciate that $1.99.
Don't know how to fund roads and schools though.
The first week I lived in South Carolina in college, the newspaper read on the front, South Carolina last in the country in education, vast improvement from last year. And it's like, if you're still last, how is there a vast improvement? Doesn't that there
leapfrog Puerto Rico?
Yes.
They leapfrog Puerto Rico.
And then my man C3 Anthony Picarello says, Cody, can't wait till you hear my call. You will love it. I've been saying this exact same thing. No respect for our team. Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the draft. I hear you, Anthony.
You think it's that he could be boring, though?
That's part of it.
No, Tony won literally 100%. And listen, the fact that he's smaller, he's kind of meek. He doesn't speak up. He's a shorter dude. He
not controversial. There's nothing.
Not controversial.
It's not even a negative thing to it. It's just like
he doesn't have a lot of pop and
vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to start to heap the praises.
Say that again.
Je ne sais quoi.
Nice. What does it mean?
I don't even know. But I know it made sense.
Sounds awesome.
I know it did sound good.
Yeah. Have you ever seen How High? Method Man, Redman movie. Redman. He goes, he said something. I've been pimping since your grandpa been pimping. He said, I don't know it now, nutter. And the guy goes in the car. He goes, I don't know what that shit means, but it sound good.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it is. But no, the fact that he doesn't have a Cam Newton larger than life personality and bravado. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that's another part of the reason why we're being slept on. And yeah, maybe more people would be talking about us if we had made the controversial picks and picked an Anthony Richardson.
Oh, totally.
1,000%.
Yeah, be all over the news. I do think I'm going to pick Anthony Richardson high in fantasy football this year. Then,
oh, you've got to, dude,
because he could get like 1,100 rushing yards.
You have to, because let's be fair. Let's look at the Colts offense and tell me who's receiving the ball on that team.
Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, they got
Exactly.
Jonathan Taylor, and that's it. And that's
Jonathan Taylor, the running back. And so this is going to be largely a run first.
It's going to be like a Cam Newton offense.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I tell listen, that their offensive line has been reeling for whatever reason. Their best players have been less than ideal, like bottom tier in the NFL. And so I think Anthony Richardson's going to be taking off and running a lot, similar to what Justin Fields did last year. I think that's a similar trajectory you could see for Anthony Richardson. And that's if they let him do that. If they do, like the Bears, that's what they had to do. They had to open up the offense and say, listen, we just got to let Justin Fields do what he does. And he, got me into the playoffs in my fantasy league last year. So, it's a risky play because even Justin Fields got hurt last year. But, I think you've got to draft him high.
Do you think that they're already putting Bryce? Tony, I remember a couple of weeks ago you made the comparison of Bryce Young to Alex Smith, and a lot of people got really upset at you when you said that because people don't think very highly of Alex Smith. Like they think of the guy that was worse than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers should have went number one. He bounced around to multiple different teams, but he had that kind of dink and dunk tag put on him that followed him around in his career. Do you think people are already putting that on Bryce Young? That he's a little bit of a safe quarterback, doesn't have the arm talent, more of a Tua Tagovailoa style of quarterback. Did you think that plays into it?
Yes. And he doesn't have a bazooka. He doesn't. And, I was hard on Alex Smith for a while because, again, you come with all of the expectation of being the number one draft pick, but he was in a shit show of a place in San Francisco. But he got it together when they brought in, who's the guy that we wanted, Harbaugh, as a coach. They brought in Harbaugh. He played well, and then he went and played with Andy Reid. And, when he went to the Chiefs in his oldest age of quarterback, and he started pushing the ball downfield. So it wasn't an inability. Sometimes the inability to push the ball down the field has got to do with the team just as much as it has to do with the player. There is some real suspect questions, though, about Tua's arm talent, though. I was watching, and maybe I'm just basing it off of a couple of highlights. Actually, not maybe. I am basing it off of a couple of highlights. I was watching ESPN today or yesterday. Man, I was at a place and they had it in the background. I couldn't even hear it. It was just like Tua Tagovailoa had 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, had a great year, but also was not very great in his completion percentage or something, which was strange. But a lot of the deeper balls, the receivers are waiting. They were waiting.
Yes.
And I know those guys are also the fastest guys on earth with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So they're always going to be waiting. But you could say that his superpower definitely is not his arm. Right. I mean, you could just see it right away. And I think there is, and I know people, you don't want to look. I mean, we said we got to defend, we got to support, we love him. We just can't believe that his arm strength is his super talent. I don't think it is.
Well,
and we'll see if it translates. I want to see if it catches up.
Do you think Drew Brees' arm strength was his super talent? Strength,
No.
Not like, okay, so that's the only question. Because if that's the case, if I can get that kind of productivity without the arm strength and still get that, I'm okay.
Right.
Okay.
And by the way, it's also not like a prime Drew Brees wasn't throwing the deep ball. There is this negative correlation where people, they look at arm talent. And if you have lack of arm talent, if you're dubbed with that, everyone thinks that means that you can't throw the ball deep.
No, it's actually more about the windows than it is the deep ball.
It's about
How many times are you going to throw it 50 yards? Seriously, 50 yards.
Yeah, I mean, that person, and you sail, what a lot of times is you need to sail and put some touch under those and let them run underneath it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not, but it really is is like the time to throw in the NFL is so short. The what looks open isn't open. That's where the arm talent comes in. And what we are going to say is this, and I'm ready to believe it. And this is why Bryce Young's superpower is the understanding of the game and that special factor of just knowing what to do at the perfect moment. My favorite player, Cam Newton, right, is he could throw a football through a piece of plywood at one point, right? I mean, this mug used to be, in his first couple of years, he was one of the best deep ball throwers in the league.
Yeah.
But he threw fucking missiles, man. But I would say this is like Cam, what he did is he needed to see receivers get open. Like, it's like once he saw him get open, he could just fucking zoom it in there.
Or
the problem is,
or he'd have to trust that they're going to come down with a 50-50 ball. That would be the other scenario.
The problem is when you lose some of that, which Cam did, he loses the bazooka and it becomes a 30-06. I don't know enough about guns.
It had the with the Cam, and not to cut you off, but the Cam thing, I think his problem was always his mechanics, right? He put so much, here's the thing, he put so much torque in that ball from his shoulder that his body wasn't generating all of the throwing motion that was necessary to take the pressure off of his shoulder.
Wind up. He's so big, he had to wind up. But I think too is even if it's once the arm starts to dissipate some, you have to win in different ways. Absolutely. And that was really what Cam could never ultimately, or I guess what he didn't overcome, is being able to win in the next way of his career, the evolution of your game. And what he could have, and I think it was part of that needing to see the guy open. If you can't zoom it in there anymore, you're you're not as good as you were.
I tend to disagree. I mean, he was not throwing that ball like that in 2017, and he had one of the best completion percentages of his entire career, if not the best.
That's what
I think he did evolve in being that with the right offense. The problem is Cam Newton's elite trait, not outside of his arm, was his athleticism. And when he got hurt, I think you start to question his ability to throw the deep ball. You start to question his ability to run the ball and not stay healthy. And so I think that's where his failure came in. I think he did a great job transitioning into that phase of his career of the deke and dunk and not having to push the ball.
Only with Norv Turner. It was only 1 year with Norv Turner.
Right. That's my point, and then he was hurt every other year thereafter. He didn't really have a shot.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the idea, though, I think, is that so I mean, is that if you can't just zing it, like maybe Bryce Young, there's other guys have anticipation. Not that I'm not trying to even dog on Cam. What I'm saying is we've seen other quarterbacks that don't have the bazooka. Tom Brady.
Right.
They
have
maybe Drew Brees. Right, but they found a different way,
right,
to win, and that's what we're going to need Bryce Young to do. So it's not that if you guys think that, not you guys, but if you guys think that it's a criticism saying that Bryce Young doesn't have a cannon, then I mean that is also just a statement of fact, I believe.
Yeah,
right.
And as we've demonstrated,
that doesn't mean I don't want him to be our number one quarterback.
There are multiple names that we have demonstrated of guys that have a history of throwing downfield in big play offenses that didn't have that stereotypical traditional cannon that we're talking about. Guys like Drew Brees, guys like Peyton Manning that we were talking about. To me,
and there's a long list of players who did have bazookas who were not
never
good.
Put up.
One of my
If
there's a better ratio to not have the bazooka and be more successful.
Cody doesn't remember this one was before his time. I don't even know if anybody on this panel. Jeff George played with Randy Moss in Minnesota. This dude could throw a fucking missile, dude. Like it was I think they made this on a rope. That was because of Jeff George. He just turned out to be
championship game with Minnesota.
He was. I think that was with Culpepper. Maybe I can't remember who was a quarterback then. But he was such a dick. Like nobody. I'm the only person in the world that likes Jeff George. Me. Other than that, nobody likes this motherfucker. But you could see this. He would just. It was like there was this game on Nintendo back in the day called Base Wars, where you were a robot and it was a baseball game, and when you stole second, you had to fight, like you had a battle instead of a tag out. You had to fight, but it was awesome. But in one of these games, it was just like that's what Jeff George had. Anyway, Randall Cunningham, Al the Sailor said. All right, so look, we're excited about this. But Cody, I think you brought up something that was very important about this. Is one, this is good that he's not on the list. It's fucking good. It's going to get us as a podcast and Panther fans
sleep on us.
Yeah, we're rallying, right? Fans are getting motivated. Cody's coming up here saying, I got shit to say. Like, we're coming in here with some passion and some different things like that. The underdog. Hey, look, Bryce Young, I'm sure, doesn't give a fuck about this list. He said that over and over. He's used to this type of shit. He don't even care. And I love the best thing when he won me over in that pivot interview when they said, I'm sure you're tired of all the small talk, like, oh, your size. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm tired. He said, dude, I don't need your comments to motivate me. And he went on to say, ultimately, that I respect people who question those things. Like, you can have a different opinion in life. And just because we're not speaking into an echo chamber, he said, but I believe in myself. And I'm going to go out there and play. So look, and then when have we been good, guys? When has our team been good? Well, when we have been forecasted to be bad.
Both years we went to the Super Bowl.
The goddamn Super Bowl this year.
Both Super Bowls, we were projected to be really bad that year.
Yeah.
And we ended up
in 2012, we were predicted to be very good, and we stunk Cam Newton's second season.
I'm going to give a bold prediction that I know we've got Mingo and all these guys. Bryce Young is going to propel Terrace Marshall Jr. into the conversation of top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
That'd be awesome if that happened. I would love that.
We want this. That's what we fucking need, CK. Yep. We need that. We need a guy who we're kind of sleeping on and giving up on. Not giving up. I don't think I've ever. Actually, I feel like I've had a lot of faith in Terrace Marshall Jr. because every time he's been out there, he's produced. I don't care what people say. It's like Matt. Oh, you don't practice what? Like, you put him in the game. I've seen him be open. I've seen him make catches more than other people. The problem is he just won't in the fucking game, right? It's so maybe. I am ready, but I think Cody taught this dude up like he was going to be damn Justin Jefferson.
Who? Oh, Terrace Marshall?
Yeah, which it could be. We need him to be.
Look, there's no reason why he can't.
Did you see Antonio Brown's 3 years breakout?
I did.
Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams, 3 years breakout.
Absolutely. Like, and by the way, Terrace Marshall Jr., if you go back to that year that LSU won the national championship, before Terrace Marshall got hurt that season, he was the number one target. He had the most yards, the most receptions, the most touchdowns, ahead of Jamar Chase, ahead of Justin Jefferson. So the dude is a big time talent. And I'm also, that 2015 team, CK kind of brought it up. We did not have that number one wide receiver. Kelvin Benjamin got hurt in training camp. Yeah. And everybody was.
We were better. We were better without him.
Right.
Do you remember when
Cam had to spread around the football? And
was
Bryce
it 2017? Was it 2017 that we traded Kelvin Benjamin? Do you remember in that? Was it? We got better when he left.
I'm pretty sure it was in the middle of 2016, but it might have been. You might be right. It might have been.
I thought it was in that good. I don't know. Whatever it is.
After 2016, because remember he came out and disrespected him and said you wanted to play with a more accurate quarterback than Cam Newton.
But that was in 2017 in the preseason that he said that, right?
So you might be right.
And he caught a touchdown pass against.
We might have been bad, but the point being is we were, and to support Cody's point, we were better in those years without Kelvin Benjamin putting up those numbers. Mm-hmm. But I want a year where we get. I would love this. Is like I hope G Baby. I can't wait for G Baby to bring all the smoke. What if like Bryce Young comes out and throws like 4,800 yards in his fucking rookie season? Has like 38 touchdowns.
I want him and Anthony to be able to gloat and be like, I fucking told you. Because in the end,
ice cream every time they call in.
In the end, it just means that the Panthers are doing some good shit.
I know. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm ready for him. I'm ready for him.
And by
to
the way, I already do. We have to protect our little guy. Damn it, he's our little guy now. All right. And if we're gonna, if we were defending Cam Newton, we have to use that same energy, and we have to defend him, man.
Sharpen your Twitter
and by the
swords.
way, let's be real about something. If you were one of the people who didn't like Cam Newton because of his personality and the way that he dressed and his demeanor on the field, and you say you don't like Bryce Young for because of his height,
it's like, come on, dude.
Listen, you're starting to really come out as telling me something about yourself that is pretty clear at this point in time, right? So these are
He's too boring to dislike. He's like one of those dudes. He's so nice. There's this one guy at work, and he's a real good friend of mine, and he's like literally the nicest dude on earth. Like he can't be. It's harder to think. And one of my best friends is like this, and it's just like it's almost so nice they're nauseating.
Yeah.
And not because I don't want them to not be. It's just like, gosh, I wish I was that perfect or that nice.
I don't know if he's too little to dislike. I think you could dislike him. It makes it a little more difficult, possibly. But like, we got to look at this. Like, we're talking about like now we're pairing him, Cam Newton, as far as draft picks, and what CK says is perfect. Like, exactly right. Like, you're looking at exact opposites, polar opposites, as far as size, like the way they act, everything. If you can't like one or the other, then what do you like? Like,
we didn't talk about that.
Fan?
Did you see Cam Newton came out and said? I don't think we talked about it on the last week's show. Is that his dreads he thinks are part of the reason that he's not on a team?
Yeah. Then I found another thing I forgot to play that we have to play after you're done.
So let's keep going. Let's go. We've talked enough about Bryce and the. I do want people to tell me where Anthony Richardson goes in this draft. Am I crazy for thinking that I could draft him like in the second round?
No. So I wanted to. Before we get off of Bryce, I want to play one more example of the disrespect, because everything that you're about to hear from Eric Mangini is literally the exact opposite of what not only he was saying, but mostly every other pundit was saying. Dude, listen to this trash.
With Bryce, you just don't know how this is going to go, and for a lot of reasons. It's hard being a rookie quarterback, and it's hard adjusting the NFL and the volume of your playbook, the volume of things that you're going to see. He's at a disadvantage from a height perspective, and I know he's always been able to overcome that. But again, the NFL is a completely different challenge than it is in college. And when you're at Alabama and you've got some of the best players at every single position.
Man, he's not wrong on this.
Now, this is what I said. This was my argument.
Radically different than when you go to a team that's
I got something for it.
In the middle of the pack or struggling. Totally different challenge. So excited to see what he can do. A lot of great traits. But I think that's going to be a hard road early on for him.
That's fair.
Greg, no, but listen to me. Greg, remember earlier, me and you earlier, like, and Tony too, we were fighting because you guys were like, oh, it's Alabama's offensive line. They're certainly, they have 5 stars and this and that and this and that. Okay, listen, if you want to have that debate, that's fine. But literally before the draft, everybody to a man was saying, hey, Alabama's offensive line in comparison to other Alabama O-lines have been absolutely terrible.
Agreed.
Now that they're on the Panthers, but now it's back to Alabama being loaded with talent.
Right.
And now his sign is such a big concern. And now the size of the playbook is such a big concern. But
if he left that one out.
Yeah, dude.
If he left that one out, it would have been a reasonable discussion.
The bias is bullshit, bro.
But not even just that, Cody. Think about this. He's saying that, and I know he may not be the one, but there's a lot of people with this and that exact same excuse for why they think Bryce Young might not have a breakout year. Anthony Richardson couldn't succeed in college.
Right.
So, he didn't say anything about Anthony Richardson.
I know.
But so I think that's us kind of mashing it together, though.
Sure, but there's also, that if somebody believes that Bryce Young isn't going to succeed in college, that Anthony Richardson will, it's because they believe Bryce Young isn't going to be able to adjust to the NFL because it's a lot harder to play in the NFL.
I do agree with that whole. I've been saying it, man. Fucking that whole woe is me, Alabama, and they're terrible. Like, okay, they might not have been as good as they've been in the past, but like, y'all, I cheer for a team that the East Carolina Pirates, bro. Like, we have to overcome all of these big ass schools all the time. So I ain't feeling sorry for the motherfucking lack of talent at Alabama. So I ain't feeling that. But you're right. I think this, Cody, is that if he would have said that the playbook isn't overwhelming, because that is his super strength, right? Is that really? Did he say anything that's completely unfair?
I mean, yeah. To me, the fact that you're discounting the size, like this is all the pre-draft conversation. If you didn't think that Bryce was going to be able to hold up in the NFL because of his size and not see over the line and all that stuff, then you should. Then you
he just said it's something to watch.
But I mean, no, but he's making it seem like that's why the NFL is such a completely different game than college. All of these things together are the reason why I wouldn't, put a lot of faith and trust in Bryce Young coming out.
He didn't say that, though. He didn't say don't put faith in
definitely
trust.
Implied, bro.
Okay.
If you listen to that man talk,
he's from the Show Me State, bro.
If you listen to that man talk, that man is giving you a list of reasons why you might pump the brakes on Bryce Young. Small, different playbook, went to Alabama. Literally all of the stuff that we have been talking about for months now that people in the media, for the most part, had completely written off because his level of play at Alabama was so good.
It is.
And now it's such a problem to people.
I do think how about this is maybe I'm not as concerned about people taking issue with it, right? Because I think we've had legitimate conversations where, and I was getting mad at people when they were like, if I even mention it, they would fucking dog shame me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, should we not talk about it? What I do, and I think you might be onto something here, Cody, is where are the people who were the believers, who were the motherfuckers that were out there telling us, who were the G babies of the media, right? The G babies of the media. Where the fuck are they at right now? Lobbying and championing their little man, their little hero. I mean, he's our Napoleon.
He's a Panther. It's a Panther thing. It's not even about Bryce. It's about the Panthers. I'm telling you, if Bryce had went to any other team, I guarantee you they'd be hyping him up. Call me a salty ass Panther fan. Call me what you will. This is a Panthers thing. They think that we ain't shit. And they tell us that through their actions and how they talk about us and how they talk about our players. Even Peter King, who was glowing about Bryce Young, he put out a power rankings, and he had the Panthers near the very bottom.
Oh man!
So what changed?
What's our flavor of Bryce cream? Napoleon, Neapolitan.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
And is Bryce cream really Neapolitan flavor? Which is
Napoleon ice cream.
If you Neapolitan, right? That took a minute to say that. Dad jokes, bro. Dad jokes are here. Is he truly the Neapolitan ice cream? And that is, have you ever looked at somebody and they brought over the Neapolitan ice cream, right? Which is for people, I guess, that don't know what that is, it's the strawberry, the vanilla, and the chocolate all in different sections.
Dude, that used to be what you bring to a party. Buy a big ass.
Have you ever looked at it and been like, oh, man, that's great. I'm so glad you brought the Neapolitan.
No.
It's not the
or that strawberry so bad.
But you know what? You're gonna eat that shit.
Chocolate.
You're gonna eat that shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I'll eat it. But...
Dude, if you
I eat the vanilla. I ain't dealing with none of that other stuff.
Oh, no, you don't like chocolate ice cream?
Oh heck no, I'm not a chocolate fan.
Dude. Oh, I love, dude. I only want the chocolate. This is the only thing.
The only
want
thing is now, I don't see nobody bring the buckets from Walmart anymore. Whatever.
I know, dude. That was my childhood, dude.
Are they
now?
Yeah, they're expensive, but also everybody got a peanut allergy now, so you got to be careful.
Or a dairy allergy or something.
All right.
Yep.
Bring up the next and cover me for a second.
Yeah. So, boys, this Thursday, the schedule will be releasing. Everybody's getting prepared to buy their tickets, but also there's a lot of questions left on on the roster as far as, are we going to be playing a lot of prime time? Probably not. Remember, we're slept on. People don't want to watch the Panthers. Who are we going to open up the season with? A lot of these different, different rumors. So Will Conkle put this out on Twitter, and I felt like this would be a good question for the show tonight. It says, what's the first thing you look to see when the full NFL schedule is released? So, gentlemen, I'll bounce this around to you. But also, before we start, the Panthers just recently put this out, and people are saying this might be a hint at who one opponent might be. And shout out to Panther Pickle for bringing this to my attention. Feathers are flying, and it's a bunch of red feathers. So take that for what it's worth. But guys, what are you looking for when it comes to the schedule? And we're going to do some predictions. What do you think the Panthers' home opener is going to be?
Okay, I'll go. For me, mine's kind of personal. I'll be a little selfish. I am more interested in when the Colts come to Bank of America. One of my best friends is a Colts fan. Colts is kind of my second team. I want to see Anthony Richardson. For me, right now, looking at the schedule, that's my most interested game that I want to find out when that game is. And that may be the first game of the season. Like, that's a very possible first game of the season.
Did you talk about the Frank Reich?
Oh, and the Frank Reich connection. There you go. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So I think that's one to really look forward to. If I'm going to a game this year, that's the one I'm going to be going to. So for me, it's the Colts game.
Okay, go ahead.
Man, it's a toss up for me. I am going to be. I feel like it's got to be equally either the Bears or the Texans, because both have pretty major implications, right? If the Bears beat us, but we traded them the farm and they still had a better team, right? From a lot of people's perspective. But the other side of this is that we picked Bryce Young over top of CJ Stroud. And so that connection and that ability to have those guys going head to head, most likely in a primetime game, if I'm being honest, similar to the Mariota and Jameis Winston of the, yesteryear. I would have to say it's got to be CJ Stroud and the Texans.
Is Chicago at home? Are we at home against Chicago? Or are we on the road?
Away.
Yeah, it's away.
Game.
Let me bring up the list again. All right, so games I would go to or here is the Colts and the Texans games by far are the ones I want to attend at home. I think you're right, CK. I hadn't even looked over. Man, I've never been to Miami. I'd love to go go there. I don't have enough money to go party in Miami.
No, me neither.
And I don't know if Chicago. I would love to check a Cubs game. That's my favorite team. Never been to a professional baseball game, and I've always kind of just been holding out. Like if I'm gonna go, I might as well go to Wrigley. But they say Chicago pretty rough,
Yeah, you want to stay away from Chicago, right?
But I think CK just talked me into how important Chicago game is.
It is.
Like if we come out and stomp them, like they have to eat all their words, and if we lose, then people are going to be like, "Oh, BBD."
Can I add an extra layer to that? Not only is it about the DJ Moore trade, and it's also we passed on Justin Fields on top of that, and so if
big losers,
who I wanted.
There's a lot of potential for that to be a big implication. And that's going to be a game that's going to result in a lot of trash talk at the end of it.
How wild. What kind of bizarro fucking world do we live in where the games we want to go to the most are the Texans, the Colts, and the Bears?
I'm looking at this home schedule. Look, I'm looking at this home schedule because I can only go to home games. I would rather go see the Packers, the Vikings, the Texans, the Colts, or the Cowboys before any of the NFC South games, to be truly honest with you.
Yeah, NFC
I'm
South
looking at that. I would rather go to
Yeah,
any of those games
I
than the
agree.
NFC South games.
I don't care about the Packers at all this year.
I put a poll
like to
in
see
the
Love.
chat
It'd
too.
be cool to see Love. It'd be cool to see the wide receiver combo in Minnesota, of course. To Texans, CJ Stroud, Colts, AR, and then the Cowboys. It's just.
Have I been on the record saying my prediction? I'm pretty sure I have,
Yes,
but I'll
we've
say
been
it
talking
again.
about this for a minute too. on the
Yeah,
show.
my prediction is that week 1 is going to be Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans at home in the bank, baby. I've
has
been
to be.
saying that
Chance.
the
Has to be.
the NFL loves to open the season with storylines. Storylines everywhere. The one in the South is going to be NFC South versus AFC South, number 1 pick versus number 2 pick. Now, a lot of people they gave me some pushback saying, well, there's a chance that maybe Bryce or CJ are not the starters by week
Lies,
1.
lies.
Yeah, Tony, that's what I'm saying. There is no universe in existence where Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are not the starter for their respective
Well, there
teams
is a
this
scenario.
year.
There is a scenario. And we don't
I
want to talk
don't
about it.
believe it.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
We don't want to
There is
talk
none.
about it, but
There
there
is
is.
But
a
you know what? You
scenario.
can't predict that when you make the schedule.
That
I
and-
doubt it.
yeah, I'm talking about injury, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Shush.
Shh.
Here, I know people don't love Colin Coward. He made one of a great point one time when we got Baker, and then they made the schedule. I think didn't we play Browns week 1?
Yeah.
He said this is when this game matters the most. Right? It's like when the
Yes.
storyline slaps the hardest.
Mhm.
Because if you get deep, imagine if we would have played the Browns in week 7 and the Panthers are 2-5, the Browns are whatever. Like the story lost its appeal, its sex
Luster.
appeal.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
je
and
ne
so-
sais quoi.
Yeah.
shiny
And
anymore.
if Bryce Young and CJ Stroud play in week 10 and one pulls away and one doesn't, or both are languishing in difficulty, the storyline of the top 1 and 2 picks doesn't hit as hard. It has to be the Colts and Panthers or the Texans and Panthers week 1. What is the better storyline? And
Ooh.
Greg, put your tinfoil hat on, bro. It's important.
I got it.
It's important to the NFL to script this. And you know what? I'm not trying to say like to the point where they script, but somebody I saw this
they
is that
do.
the
It's not
schedule
like
was
they
delayed
don't
because the
script
script
it.
writers were on strike. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
That's-
So, Tony, I gotta ask, like, and this can go back to the disrespect thing, because I'm trying to think in my mind. We're talking about storylines. What's a bigger storyline in this right now? Like, quite honestly, what is it? Maybe the Philly Kansas City rematch. Like, I'm-
Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers.
Well,
I
do
don't
the-
know if
do they
play
play
though.
Green Bay?
Yeah, I was about to say, do the Packers play the Jets?
I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I don't see a lot of bigger storylines. So should Carolina not be
look that
in
up.
one of these games in the first, like one of these big
Oh,
storyline
this should be
games
the
in the
first game
game?
of the season.
That's
This should
the
be
total
first game of the
disrespect
season.
thing, right?
We have
That
we
just
have one of
proves
the
the disrespect.
well.
would
Here's the
think.
thing: is we have probably more storylines than any other team right now. Like with the number 1 draft pick, we're going to be playing all the other rookies.
But nobody's
Right.
talking about us.
We're all the top 4 rookies we're playing, right? We got Bryce Young and then CJ Stroud. The funny thing is 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks went to the same division. So they're going to constantly be,
It's gonna be like
compared
that
to one
next year in
another.
the NFC South.
No,
Um,
the
and we're
Packers
It's gonna be
playing
like
do
that
not
next year
play.
in the NFC South.
And the
Watch.
Packers do not play the Jets.
Greg, go
Um,
ahead and make the week 1 graphic. Houston Texans at Carolina Panthers. Let's go ahead and put it out there. We're leaking it. We're
Yeah.
a leak on
Can-
C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yeah.
Can I ask? And I know we this isn't a part of our kind, but I feel like it's worth at least bringing up. And I don't want it to be a win-loss just only, but let's look at this and go game by game, and let's just come to a consensus as whether we believe it's a win, a 50-50 shot, either way, it could go either way, or a loss. And then that way we can kind of get an idea of where our swing games are really going to be. And so, do you guys cool with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a win loss.
Yeah, win loss, but not even just everybody's a win loss. It's like the Falcons game, for instance. Do you believe that's a win loss, or do you think that there's a 50-50 shot that goes one way or the other? Like it's how many of these games are wins, how many of them are lost, and how many of them are it's really going to be too close to tell.
There's no way I'm going to pick any of our division rivals. Over
I was gonna say, I think that we win all 6 division games. To be honest with you,
But
just
here's-
putting that out there.
We
right
have
now.
a really
I mean,
easy
all well
schedule,
division.
dude. It's
Yes.
like, who's the toughest
We have a
team
very
on this?
easy schedule.
Probably
The Jags
Jacksonville,
and
Probably
Dallas,
Jacksonville, maybe
and the
Detroit,
Dolphins. No, the
Seattle.
Jags and the Dolphins
Seattle's-
are the
Seattle's pretty
toughest
strong.
teams on this.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Minnesota
Jags and
may be,
Dolphins.
Minnesota
Those are
may be
two-
pretty good. They may have a pretty powerful offense.
Here's my only caveat. I don't believe the Falcons are going to be blow it away, but they have a lot of talent on their team because of their salary cap usage this year. They have a lot of big names that came and signed with the Falcons, which, by the way,
And third
is
year going
absolutely
into the
astonishing.
coach. I think
Right.
third year coach.
They still have Ritter, though. That's the
They
thing.
do, but Ritter didn't get a lot of playing time
Not
last
then.
year. But at the same time, I mean, he's still there's still a jury out on whether he's going to be a good quarterback or not, right? I'm not
Daniel
prepared to
Jones.
say it's not going to happen. I don't think it's likely. But he still has the potential, and they have now a potential running back that's going to blow the doors off of the league from everybody else's belief in what he's going to be doing in this league.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him to be able to make that assertion, but
I see us splitting with the South, maybe sweeping the Bucks.
I think
right.
the Bucks
As
are,
I could-
yeah.
I think we could split. I mean, I don't know if we sweep the Falcons. I don't know if we sweep the Saints. I'm not ready to go ahead and say that, but I could see splits there, maybe a sweep with the Bucks. I think Green Bay is vulnerable. I think the Texans are vulnerable. I think the Colts are vulnerable.
Everybody's
I think-
vulnerable.
I think these are, when I say vulnerable, I
still
think
a
those are
good
real
defense.
winnable games.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee is winnable.
Yeah.
So if you said you split, that's 3, then you add in, say you get one of 2 between the Colts and the Texans, that's 4 wins. Probably one of 2 of Chicago and Tennessee,
So you're
that's
looking at a
5
500.
wins.
It's
You're
5
probably
losses
one
too.
of 2 against
losses too, yeah.
the Detroit Lions and the Seahawks, that's 6 wins.
6 losses.
And then I think there's probably 7 7 has got to be the minimum that this team could do.
This early in the season, I'm just a super fan. Like I
Right,
don't look
I
at
agree.
I don't look at any of these teams and say, "Oh yeah, they're definitely beating us." Oh, the Minnesota.
No, I don't think any
Vikings,
of that. I don't
they-
think actually
Yeah.
any team. I think if anything is the Dolphins or the team on this list that are the team that I would probably say that's a loss.
So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't think so.
I would say, I mean, I don't know. The Dolphins are a good team, and they also added via free agency. To me,
Dolphins, Jags,
no,
and
yeah,
Cowboys are
no,
the 3 toughest teams on this list.
Tony just hit it out the park. It hit a grand slam. It is those 3 teams that you are easily going to see us having
The hardest time. with.
the hardest time with, because they have the best quarterbacks that we're going to be facing. I'm sorry,
we-
Derek Carr. That doesn't really do it for me. It
Sure.
doesn't scare me, man.
If we play the Miami Dolphins early in the season, I think that's a win because then we'll have our
Why they're
cornerbacks healthy.
good early in
No,
the
no,
season,
no.
though.
We'll have our cornerbacks healthy as
Okay,
well.
Right.
You know,
Can I-
Man, you ain't stopping.
Let
Can I ask-
let Tua Tagovailoa underthrow a pass and let JC Horn take it back to the house.
Oh, speaking of, I got 2. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just gonna say, can I ask, are we tempering our expectations? Because I know that like 2 weeks ago we were talking about Bryce Young and like if you don't make the playoffs, if you don't get 10 wins, this
No,
is
I think we could
this
get
is
10
cut.
wins. I
Okay,
think
'cause you were
7's
just
the
saying
minimum,
7.
bro.
Okay.
I think 7
So is
is
it a
like.
failure then if we win 7 games still?
yes. But
Okay.
I think it is.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it. Yeah, like
it's a
moderate
failure, but it's also like better than
Meh.
what we've
It's
done. in a while.
Neapolitan ice cream, dude. It's Neapolitan
To
ice
me,
cream.
in order
That's
for
for
me to
sure.
be impressed, I need 9 wins.
And look, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, we were just talking about how 3 of the top, or how many of the top quarterbacks went to one division this year. Y'all, that's gonna happen in the NFC South next year. I'm gonna go and tell you
That's
right
gonna
now,
be funny.
Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Atlanta are all revving up to pick one because there's 2 really good ones coming out next year. Like just prototypical, like these guys, Trevor Lawrence
Tankathon.
looking guys. Yeah, so we're probably gonna be we're probably gonna have a bunch of really good rookie quarterbacks after this year.
I don't know,
Larry
man.
Pickle.
I don't know if I don't think the Falcons are going to be bad enough to be in the top, in
I
the
think
top
they're all
5.
playing for it. I think they're playing us right now.
I think the
tinfoil hat.
Saints paid way too much money for Derek Carr to want to actually be tanking this year
Don't care money
for another
alone.
quarterback. And
Yeah.
I think Tampa Bay, on the other hand, I think 1,000% the only quarterback moves they decided to make were like a third stringer from the Rams and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was
with
it.
KT. I'm with KT here, saying the floor is 7 and 10. Anything less than that is disappointing.
Yeah.
Anything if we hit 7 wins, we could justify it as like we're heading in the right
I need a
direction.
winning season.
Right.
Nah,
I
need a
think
win.
the ceiling could be 11 and 6, maybe. Could be more for all we know.
Hey,
we just went 7 and 10, didn't we?
No, I think we
can't
went
be happy
6
with
and
that.
11, didn't we? No, maybe you might be right. Here's my
Well,
other my
Like
part to
17
this.
games.
Yes. Okay. My other question would be, or I guess my assertion on this would be that we should not be anything less than 7, because
I
if we
agree.
do, we spent way too much money on that number 1 draft pick.
But 7 is a bad cutoff. We won 7 last year.
No,
If we
I
gave
think
up,
Greg.
should
Well,
get at least 3 more wins.
I don't think we're coming in here, Greg, excited about 7.
No, but I'm saying
I think what
floor
we're
should be
saying
10.
is we could. I think the floor should be 10.
Yes.
No,
look
Look
what
how
you
hard
traded.
it is to
No,
get 10
look what
wins.
I mean, that's
You
not far
cannot-
off from mine.
Look
I
what
said
you-
9.
Yeah, look what you
Okay.
traded to get this guy, and you're talking about getting 3 more wins. Which, by the way, we could have had 3 more wins had the refs called the game correctly. So, I mean,
Sure.
seriously, is 7 going to be our floor? Will we get 7 last year?
But
Okay.
the
I think
mediocrity.
I'm on- I
Let's
think
accept
I'm
the
on-
mediocrity. I
I
want a
think
winning
I'm on Greg's
season.
side.
It's not
I
I
want a
know,
winning
but
season.
he is a rookie. Like,
That's
I'm
my
not saying.
floor.
I'm just saying,
Hold
don't
on.
set the expectations too
Here's-
high.
No, you
It's
can't.
like
I'm setting it
you're
way above
always
Bryce
going to
Young's
be.
head.
It's
Setting
like
it
you're
way above
always
Bryce
going to
Young's
be
head.
disappointed when you lose your virginity.
You have to also
If you're a
keep in
girl,
mind
if you're a girl,
this
guy,
is a
you're like,
brand
hell yeah, that was
new-
awesome.
We're going to a new defense, so our defensive players aren't going to, they're going to be learning a new defense. We have a new head coach. All of our offensive players are going to have to learn a new offense. We have a brand new rookie quarterback. We have we've gotten rid of our number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore. We've got no tight ends other than Hayden Hurst. Our running back situation is, Miles Sanders is good. Don't get me wrong, but you still aren't dealing with like superstars who are like elevating the team.
I think you're sleeping on Miles Sanders.
We might be, and
I
that's
think
fine.
that-
But
yeah,
it's
maybe
also, if that's the case, we would have paid a lot more for him too, right? If he's going to be if he's believed to be the superstar, he would have gotten a lot more money from somebody else. But
I
here's
think 10 is possible. I think when you
Sure.
say the
And I-
floor is, I think the floor means if anything below this, I'm angry.
Yeah, and I am.
And if
How
we
about
get
this?
9
How
wins,
about
if we
this?
get 8 wins, I'm saying, oh, we're building something here.
Hey,
Well,
can
I
I can
agree
we
with y'all,
meet in the middle ground? Can we say over 500? We have
That's
to
what I'm
have
saying, winning
more
season.
wins. Yeah,
I
we
would
have
like
to have
that.
a winning season, but also Tony, consider again. It goes back to what we say about Bryce. He is the most ready to play out of all the quarterbacks. He's
Which
the
then
IQ,
that makes
the
it
big
an-
brain.
You
Right,
sold,
yeah,
sold
right.
me on this.
So
yeah.
Derek, but by the way, especially for Greg had a lot of trepidation about Bryce because of his size. So for him to to say that he wants 10 wins, I don't think that's unfair considering the narrative around Bryce,
Mhm.
that he is this quarterback that's ready to come in and play great football.
It's just a
Also,
really good season, though.
But look,
10 is like
think that-
incredible.
I think that if you don't expect a significant change, you are accepting mediocrity.
We're not saying that
truly
we
honest
don't
with you.
expect it. We're just saying when you look at the fact, let's be real, there's a question mark around this defense. There is a giant question mark surrounding this defense. The health of our cornerbacks, because every single year that JC Horn's been in the league, he's missed games. Dante Jackson has been a walking Band-Aid, right?
Same thing.
New scheme.
And then we look at our defensive back situation. Xavier Woods is getting older. He can't catch a pass for the life of him. We've just added some guys who, came in here on team friendly deals, right? And we're moving to a 4th or a 3-4, right? We don't know how that's going to impact Brian Burns, Derek Brown, all these. So the fact is, it's not just a matter of whether our quarterback succeeds. It's going to be whether or not we actually have the defensive pieces and the defensive coaching to make us actually better. We'd
But
like to
that's
think we
always
do.
the case.
Right,
That's
but I'm saying
always
that's the
case,
biggest
and it
question
was
mark.
before.
But
Whenever we
you're
said that
coming
he was
into
going to
Okay,
be the
you taught
savior,
me
that
up.
was
To,
al-
I
that was the
think
case then, too.
Cody's right. I think Cody's right. Is the middle ground is 500, right? Is we've
Right.
talked up this coaching
can't go
staff
500.
of
You can't
being
go
a
500,
fucking.
yeah. Unless you
can't go
Or
try.
500.
above,
You got to have
yeah,
a winning
yeah.
season or a losing season.
So it's
There's no
9. then.
500. Yeah.
It's 9 because I think Cody's right because look, we were sold the the Avengers version of coaches.
his mastermind.
We've got the quarterback that might not have the highest ceiling
Chips
of
all
the
in.
group, but has
Yeah.
the lowest floor, like the win now.
Exactly.
And Tony, it's the point that you made earlier. If you look at the teams that we're playing, there's not a ton of like world beater football teams.
Like, what if we were
Or-
like 11?
or-
What if we went 12 games? You come out here. This podcast would be fucking piping
can't
hot on that
I can't
shit.
wait. It's gonna happen.
No.
It's gonna happen. It's
God,
gonna
I
happen,
need
y'all.
it so
go.
fucking
Digit
bad,
wins.
dude.
All right,
happen.
you guys brought this up. I got to give my boy Clip Brock from PRL Live Pirate Radio. We're talking about those safeties. What's this guy's name?
Jamie Robinson.
What? Say it again.
Jamie Robinson.
Why you say it like that?
Oh boy. But is it Jamie Robinson?
That's what he
It has
asked
to-
me.
it has
He
to be
asked
Jammy,
me, is
right?
his name Jammy?
No, I think that's just how it's spelled. It's spelled.
Okay, well, hey, wait a second. I could
But-
spell dog CAT and say it's called cat.
No, but dude, you can kind of say, dude, it's like spelling
is
Cody.
it Jamai?
No,
No.
dude,
Is
it's
it
like spelling Cody.
Jamai?
Dude,
Jamai?
it's like
Jamai?
spelling Cody with a KODY.
It's not. That's
That-
no. That's not the same thing.
I
That's
think
not the same
so,
thing.
man.
Jammy.
No,
Get
it's
your
not.
jammies
No.
ready. We're having a
They can be used in
sleepover.
two
Dude,
different
how would
ways.
you
When you
spell
put the ends
Jammy?
together like that, it's pronounced a certain way. That is not
The only
same
other
thing.
way, I think you could spell Jammy Jammy, but Jamie is usually Jamie or Jamey, right? Or
Yeah, but
Jai.
The fact that there
JA
is
work,
still
yeah.
an IE at the end
It's
makes me
Jamai.
come to- No, it's Jamie.
It's
dude.
Ant-
I'm
it's
No, he's
telling
right.
you.
That's how you
Jemima
pronounce it, is
Robinson.
Jemai. Yeah.
Hey, Brandon
This is
Hoffman
Jammy.
says
It's your
jammed.
You know what?
No,
We're
no, no,
all wearing
Brandon said-
pajamas to the game if
There's
he's
nothing
good.
wrong with Jemai
Brandon
either.
said
That-
jam
that's a-
those
that's a-
receivers with Jammy.
I would
Dude.
rather be called. I don't know.
Knife is spelled knife. Let's just move on.
Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, no, that's
Look,
the
if this
perfect
guy
point,
is
bro.
good, we're all wearing pajamas to the games.
Oh,
There you
dude,
go.
We're wearing our jammies.
dude, that's Jamie.
I don't even know. I'm messing all over.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
I got you. Let me do my thing. Let me see. All right, so a name that I didn't think we would ever be hearing again, Cam Irving, back with the Carolina Panthers on a one-year deal. Now, I have never been very impressed with Cam Irving. I hope there is never a scenario where this man has to play on the field for us at all, for anything, for any reason at all. But a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people in our chats, they have been pretty complimentary of this, saying pretty much he's a swing tackle. He's
Sure.
going to be some solid depth. I don't know. How do we feel about the return of Cam Irving? And by the way, also apparently a great mentor to Ikem Ekwonu last season. So
Yeah.
maybe he might be able to do that same thing for Chandler
I love
Zavala. Boys, what say you?
I love it. I love it. I mean, here's the thing. It's he's not coming in here starting. That's the game like that I would be a little more upset about is if he's the guy who's coming to start the at the right tackle or left tackle position. He's coming in here for depth. And I think he's a top tier backup in this league because he's got starting potential and all that. I'm not saying he's a great tackle by any stretch, but he's played enough games to know how the offense works. And I think this is just filling a need, which is making this offensive line a little bit more, a little bit more secure, especially with coming off of 2 season-ending injuries at the end of the year with our guard and with I guess both of our guards.
And if you see him in the game, that's the reason you have him here is because something went wrong, right? And you don't want a guy ultimately learning on the job when you're on your 12-5 run with your new rookie quarterback and a guard goes down or a tackle goes down for 2 weeks and you got to put in some unknown and get your quarterback killed right here on our 12-5 road to victory. Cam Irving might have to play a couple of games, and that's better than putting in a rookie and getting somebody killed by accident. And that doesn't mean that they're not good.
Well, that leads us perfectly into our next topic. And I wanted to talk with you boys about our guard position because this has been a topic of a lot of different discussion and conversation. And a little update, Austin Corbett, 4 months in, his quads are growing, crushing the Tour de Charlotte a few times a week on the Peloton. And he's back to squatting, cleaning, and deadlifting one day at a time. And the article that was put out on Panthers.com, they make mention of the fact that Frank Reich has basically come out and said that he is not going to be ready to play by week 1. And we all know this. And the team just drafted Chandler Zavala that everybody's really excited about. On top of that, there have been so many people that have put the pieces together. You know, Zavala played left guard next to Kemba Kwanu.
I know they're already writing great out of the story.
Right. So my question is twofold. Who did you think will be the starting guards for the Carolina Panthers this season? And at what position? Is Brady Christensen getting bumped out to the bench to be a swing tackle? Is Corbett? Is Cade Mays in the picture here? What, Cam Irving? God, I hope not. But what
if he's got to play right guard for a game, who cares?
No, I care. I'd rather I'd rather Cade Mays than Cam Irving. I do not want to see Cam Irving on this offensive line, dude. I don't.
He was on the offensive line in a lot of different formations last year, and we were successful.
Right, but on certain formations, though, we were never really depending on him and on like passing downs.
I'm not defending the guy as being a good offensive line, but I'm offensive lineman. But if our starting guy isn't ready, the dude's gonna fill in, and he's gonna do like the best we're gonna get out of any of these guys. Right? We can hope that Cade Mays is the guy. And that's fine. We can put him in there and see how it goes, but he's fighting an uphill battle as well to be the guy, right? The dude isn't like, he wasn't coming in here like showing flashes of being an incredible talent, right? That's why he wasn't drafted in the top, in the top three rounds, right? So I mean, to put that faith in him as opposed to a guy who's had starting, ability, who has, the ability to come in here and actually succeed. I think that is a risky play.
What was that subtitle? It says this: Panthers right guard is still not balanced out in his recovery from knee surgery and now has to balance with a new guy coming in to take his job. I'm trying to find in the story what they're talking about here, Darren.
Yeah, Chandler.
What do you mean by no, I know that part, but what's the balanced out part in the beginning he's talking about?
Article?
Yeah, bring it up right here and look at the subtitle.
Yeah. I have it up. I'll share.
The subtitle says he's still not balanced out in his recovery. I don't know what balanced out in his recovery means. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Well, can I say this?
And you know what? I think we need to go make this. We need to eat this for lunch this week. He eats a salad-sized bowl, a salad bowl the size of a cantaloupe, crammed full of spinach, kale, and some other stray vegetables to make it colorful. A fistful of chickpeas and chicken strips. Then there's a side of fish, what appears to be an entire fish. Hey, I'm eating that for lunch this week, bro.
Can I say one thing I'm happy about is we saw improvement in the offensive line last year, and this kind of goes back to what CK was touching on with the Cam Irving signing is we have depth, man. Like, Cody, you just asked us about who we want starting, and you named like 6 players.
Yeah.
Which is great. You named 6 players, and I knew all of them.
That's a new problem
on the offensive line. I'm cool if we don't have anybody that's a solid starter for every off. Like, let the guys rest and rotate in. Like, how do we know if we don't have these players playing minimal snaps? Like, they couldn't be better.
Sure.
And I love the depth
rotations. Yeah. I also think that we've got to trust James Campen to be able to get the most out of guys like Cam Irving, because Cam Irving didn't, disappoint us last year. I mean, I know again he's limited action, but the dude.
That's a great point. A lot of this is how much faith do you have in James Campen and being a developer and a teacher.
I mean, this staff seems to love the fact that he's, what he's able to do, because he's one of the only pieces that they kept from the rule era.
So I found what he meant with that balancing thing, because he has a line here, and it says, then again, he's still months away from practicing, lifting way less weight with his left leg than his right leg. So that's the balancing part. But here, this is a kind of a wild line, not wildly written, but he says that his left knee swells up every time he eats a hamburger.
Yeah, I did see
this
that.
guy, man, the Five Guys, and all of a sudden he's like, "Shit, my leg is out of control here."
That has to be tough, man. But listen, I'm going to go on record. I'm saying Brady Christensen is not losing his job to anyone. I think Christensen is going to be starting at left guard.
How long is his recovery?
What I think is going to be very interesting. I don't know. I do know that Christensen is ahead of schedule. Okay. And he was apparently doing some stuff the last time they met up with the team, and he's been working out.
I know broken bones are a little easier than the ACL. So
yeah, he had I think he had a high ankle fracture. It was one of the high ones. So, but everyone says that he should be ready to go. I'm saying Brady Christensen is going to be our left guard, but I think Chandler Zavala is going to start at right guard, and I think that there's going to be maybe even a little bit of a debate if we get out on a roll and the Panthers are looking good and Zavala is looking good at right guard and then Corbett is going to come back healthy. Maybe we don't want to take Zavala out of the rotation to put in Corbett, who hasn't played since the end of last season. So that's my little prediction, man. I think Christensen is playing left guard. And I think they're going to put Zavala at right guard and make it interesting.
Can I ask you, do you believe that James Campen's going to look at this like he's going to go to right guard because Christensen might be healthy and he knows left guard, enough to be serviceable in the NFL, right? Or are they going to look at the potential connection between Icky and Zavala and say, because there is a learning curve, having a guy next to you that understands that learning curve and comes from where you come from that you're comfortable with, I think is very valuable. And moving Christensen around is not anything he's new to. He's been on every part of this line since he was, drafted. So I think that he has a lot more versatility, and the comfort with Icky is going to put Zavala at that left guard position.
Yeah. Fair point.
I wanted to mention C-Dog's comment. He said Zavala's undersized at 6'3". I don't think being short is a disadvantage at guard. I think it's an advantage.
Yeah, it's
like
more about
level.
leverage. Yeah, if you can get underneath.
Because Aaron Donald isn't tall.
He's like 6 foot.
He's like one of the best tackles in the league. Or not, he is the best tackle. But
100%.
All right.
So listen, man. If you're a fan of the C3 Panthers podcast, we know that you come here to listen to us talk about Panther football. But we also know that there's a lot of freaks amongst this Panther fandom, and they come here to be titillated by the smooth stylings of Codizzle Allen. Talk to him, Big Papa.
Let me warm up the pipes. We haven't done this in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, you've tuned into the C3 Panthers podcast to listen to us bicker, to complain, to get angry about the Carolina Panthers being disrespected, about what we're going to be doing moving forward, how we're going to do against our opponents this year. You've come here every Tuesday, every Friday. Maybe you're just finding us, but you haven't hit that like button yet. Well, I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
Man, 132 people watching, 70 thumbs up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified every time your favorite Panthers podcast goes live. Listen, man, C3 Nation cannot stop growing. We are that child, that old problem child that will not give it up. We never take weeks off. And the amount of people that are jumping on board the C3 bandwagon, dude, and I don't even call it the bandwagon. I say the C3 army, bro. We're out here rocking our processed blue Panther flags and jerseys, and we're doing something incredible over here at the C3 Panthers podcast. So please hit that like and subscribe. And if you would like to, hit that join button for $1.99 a month. Be a part of some of some incredible emojis and badges. And we're going to be doing some giveaways, all types of good stuff. Consider supporting the show.
What do we got next?
All right, let's jump to this. One of a large topic of conversation is normally about Jeremy Chinn. And an article came out and from the Charlotte Observer, General Manager Scott Fitterer and head coach Frank Reich have said that Chinn will play the big nickel role in sub packages. He will also see time at linebacker. Do you think that we're setting Jeremy Chinn up for failure by continuing to move him around at different positions? Or is this just what the doctor ordered for Jeremy?
It's what the doctor ordered, dude. I mean, he has been mediocre in the secondary, right? He has not been living up to his rookie season, how he performed then, and they moved him to that safety position. He has been back there. He's not been a liability, but he also hasn't been an asset. And I think moving him back to that, and when he did play close to the line, he was making impact plays. The dude was a sideline to sideline type linebacker. And I think that this is a great move for him. I think it's going to get him more involved in this defense, more so than he was previously, because one of our biggest weaknesses last year was our run defense, right? Having him close to the line helped tremendously in a lot of those holes being filled correctly. I think this is great. I think it's great news for him.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I don't know what is necessarily best for Jeremy Chinn at this moment. I'm not ready to say he can't play strong safety effectively. I just know his rookie year and his first 2 years, he was very good. Very, 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 very good. And that was, I think, more the role. That is the role that he did make a giant impact in. I think that too is that having a linebacker who can cover in that 3-4, not a outside linebacker, no, not the ones that are going to be rushing the quarterback, those guys, but having those guys that are going to be able to run and do some coverage stuff is important. I think Jeremy Chinn can do that, right? So I think that like that big Buffalo, that's when Shaq Thompson was his best, his rookie year when he played the Buffalo nickel, whatever. Yeah. I'm on record here saying this. I think people have given up on Jeremy Chinn too easily. Far, far too easily. They did this. I think a lot of people did this with Derek Brown, and now everybody's on the Derek Brown. He's awesome fucking train. Jeremy Chinn played through injury last year. He's not been bad. This is the problem is, in fact, people were like, oh, his second season was kind of just, he had like 110 tackles the second season. The problem was he was so good. It's kind of like Jamar Chase. His rookie year was so fucking incredible. It's going to be impossible to top that. It's like, so if you go, oh, well, you didn't have 1,700 yards this year. Well, he had 1,400. Oh, woo, woo. I think that Jeremy Chinn, I don't think we should be giving up. I think he's a good player. I think a healthy Jeremy Chinn is important to this defense. I'm excited I'd like to see what Evero can do with him. Maybe Evero is just what the doctor ordered.
I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be great because I think you're going to be playing, you're going to have a lot more of these athletic quarterbacks and everything. I think he's going to be able to play that spy very well and from the linebacker position. And like you said, I mean, he's got the athleticism to be able to, he's got that Luke, he's got that Luke athleticism, guys. I mean, let's be real about it. He's got the, and a lot of people were talking about, he was the consolation prize to old boy from, Clemson. What's his name? Isaiah Simmons. And I think he's performed in a better way than Isaiah Simmons, and he has the traits to be that guy. I think he's this is the perfect position for him. I don't think he should have been moved to safety at all.
Do you think, though, and just to kind of play devil's advocate here, shout out to C Dog in the chat. It says Jeremy Chinn playing linebacker stunted his growth at the NFL level, playing safety second season. Matt Rule and Phil Snow shenanigans. And I feel like there is a little bit of a point to that, right? Because if you remember when we broke that news in the middle of the season, right before Matt Rule and Phil Snow got fired, part of the rumors is that Jeremy Chinn felt that he was being moved around too much. Now, again, this is a brand new defense. I'm sure that Jajiro Rivero is much more respected and has a plan. on how to use Jeremy Chinn. But I mean, I think we have to be real a little bit when it comes to Jeremy. He's a man without a home. Nobody truly knows what his best position is. A lot of people think maybe he needs to play linebacker, but then some people kind of doubt that he's big enough to be able to play that linebacker position full time. Then when you talk about him at safety, there have been people who will bring up his PFF numbers in coverage and say, hey, he's not really that great in coverage. So he's not necessarily, it's not like he's a bad football player, but there's a little bit of a conundrum in terms of how to play him. And I feel like Ejiro Rivera is having to figure out that puzzle on the fly.
But I think he also, like, when you look at one of the things that I would compare, like they talk about the different packages from linebacker to nickel. I think those are similar positions. I know they're played a little bit differently, but I think that's going to give him the most stability, having that be the positions he's switching between, as opposed to switching between being a linebacker and a safety and then a defensive end and then all these other places that they had him in his rookie year or even in his in his second year, right? I think this is going to give him the most consistency that he's had in his entire playing career, even though it is technically moving from a cornerback to the linebacker position. They're in a similar position if he's playing middle linebacker, whatever that may be, in whatever, packages they put out there, as opposed to the nickel, because they're going to be covering similar type players. The linebackers are constantly covering the slot receivers like a nickel would.
It's the knife that cuts both ways, Cody. His versatility is a great asset until it's not. Or we've seen this. The guy that I bought his jersey before he played a single snap, which has kind of made me hesitate in doing that again, was Shaq Thompson. And he was that multi-tool guy. And then the question was, what is he supposed to be? Like, how do you put him in over another guy who is a single tool guy, but that tool is very well, like you can have a Swiss Army knife, but if you just need a screwdriver, use the screwdriver. And so, I mean, you see these players who we are told about their versatility. You remember, I guess Matt Rule saying multiple, whatever it was. I mean, these guys are the problem. Sometimes it's it's like, what are they? You see this sometimes with defensive ends. You're like, oh shit, this guy's so fast, but then he's not big enough. Then you get Isaiah Simmons was the multi-tool. And it's like, where do you, but figuring out how to use it is a real part of it. Right. So it's not like just them. Maybe they are. He's a good football player. I think he's an asset. I don't want to hear. I think the problem is that sometimes the people around you are limiting of what you can do. We don't know if he was playing through injury and some different things, what was going on in those plays. But what was I going to say? It was a multi-tool. When you figure out how to use it, it's awesome. And I just lost my thought. Fuck.
It happened to me last Friday on the free-for-all.
Yeah, I mean, but figuring out how to use that tool is a big part of the battle, right? And it's like, if we can figure out how to use him appropriately, and there's probably a lot of good players in the NFL that have just kind of gotten mucked up in systems and mucked up in change and mucked up in different ways. Oh, I know what it was. Hassan Reddick was that guy at one point. In Arizona, they tried to play him at linebacker. Then they tried to multi-tool him in Arizona. And it wasn't until they figured out really how to use this guy best. Right. So it's like being versatile. That was my point. Hassan Reddick was that guy at one point.
And by the way, this is off topic, but I feel like that's the same thing happening to Isaiah Simmons too, because they try to use him in too many ways.
But that's his whole thing.
But it's almost. But just because you can do it at the college level doesn't mean that it's the best thing that you should be doing at the NFL level.
No,
there have not been a bunch of multi-purpose players that have been able to play more than one position at very high levels. I mean,
remember Jeremy Chinn had his own coach his rookie year?
Right. I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's kind of few and far between. And I think Tony is right. Sometimes you have to settle these guys at a certain position before they can finally get the ins and outs.
And that may be true. That may be true. But I think Isaiah Simmons, the only reason he went as high as he did was because of his versatility.
I think it was his freak athleticism, honestly.
But that's part of it. Like his athleticism is where they believe his versatility was going to come in at. Right? They didn't like. He excelled in coverage, but also doing this and doing that. He wasn't like elite in one piece. He was great at a lot of those things. And so if that's the case, if you're drafting him as just a middle linebacker, he's not a top 10 prospect as a middle linebacker. He was the top 10 prospect because he could do 7 different jobs on that defense.
That's true.
Right, but my only point is that when it comes to Jeremy Chinn or an Isaiah Simmons, you run this risk of being a master of none. You're a jack of all trades, but you're a master of none, and you're not getting enough reps at one position consistently enough to be able to pick up all the nuances and idiosyncrasies of each and every position. And at the end of the day, it's like when you're moving around too much, you're, like I said, you're kind of homeless. You're without a home, and you don't necessarily have a great spot to be able to go to.
All right. What's next?
We had put this, and these next two are more kind of just fun.
Why did they not even? They didn't even get a good picture of them.
Jalen Hurts.
But
you click on it. It's a good one. It's one of those. You click on it.
But still, we don't click on the tweet.
But no, this is just kind of funny though. What quarterbacks have the best aura? And what quarterbacks
it's only
have
one
the
answer.
Aura?
There's only one answer.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. What about did you hear about Josh Allen cheating on his longtime girlfriend or something?
Yeah, dude, that was the rumor.
And now his girlfriend is at the. I heard she was at the Derby trying to pick. Is she a reporter?
I don't think so.
Okay. She was at the Derby. Anyway, the answer's simple. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, agreed.
Greg.
Right.
Nope, don't disagree. Yeah.
All right, who has the worst aura of every quarterback in the NFL? Dude, I'm going to be real with you.
Who's number 9?
Stafford.
Matt Stafford.
Oh.
I'm going to be real. Mine's Matthew Stafford. You know why?
What?
Do you remember when they
when
were at
fell off the
Super
stage?
Yeah, man.
That's why I like him.
Nothing. It turned around and walked away, dude.
That's why I like him. Let the professionals deal with it.
It depends on how you're looking at it with the worst aura. Because I mean, look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He got offered free lifetime sex in the brothels in Las Vegas. So who has the worst?
Jimmy Garoppolo did.
Jimmy Garoppolo did.
Jones?
Yeah.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, this is to me.
Remember, he was dating
Mac Jones without a doubt.
Star for a while.
Yeah, I know that puts him high up. I know. I want to put him on the other slide.
Mac Jones, without question. I don't even think this is an
Why would you?
argument.
I mean, what do you like? You wouldn't be high fiving.
I mean, it
Cody, if
depends.
you said this is my new girlfriend and it was a porn star, I'd be like, man, you the shit, bro. Way
It
to
depends
go.
on what porn star, does it not? I mean, not all slices of bread are cut the same. You know what I'm saying?
McCorkle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean,
it's
no,
Mac
I
Jones.
agree.
It's
Mac
very simple,
Jones.
Mac Jones. You like that?
But I do think the fact that Garoppolo is injury prone and teams are always trying to move on from him.
He's a beaut, man. The ladies love him.
I don't think teams are always trying to move on from him.
Greg, did you really say that he got free sex at the brothels?
Yeah, he was offered like free service. Like that was one of the things. It was, I can't remember where I heard that.
Was it written in his contract?
Oh, I don't think it was his contract.
Listen, you can't say that Jimmy Garoppolo is always teams are always looking to move on from him. He was playing behind Tom Brady at the Patriots, and then he went to the 49ers, and the 49ers are the first team that has moved on from him. And that's after he has brought them to multiple NFC championships.
Obviously, you're going to choose Brady over him, but whatever, they still chose Brady over him. Then, while he was still there, they drafted Trey Lance for Trey Lance.
But then now they're not even picking Trey Lance. That's just might be their mistake. I would say the worst part about Jimmy G's aura is his on the field game. His off the field game is on fleek.
Banging.
Yeah,
but I mean that kind of goes into it though. Like I don't know if you would ever trust him. I think it's big time moments, but no.
Then Matt McCorkle, and then the question is who's next? Maybe right. It might be Cousins even.
I mean Matt Jones apparently is very very full of himself.
Whiny.
And apparently he was
frumpy. He's frumpy too. He's got a fat middle set. He's frumpy.
Yeah.
Listen, how many other players have like literally been crying because of a high ankle sprain coming off the field?
Yeah.
Baseball players. That's who it is. What's next?
Yeah, we only have 2 more, and then we can get into some
let's
cat
get the
calls
cat
to
calls.
close out the show. We talked a little bit to Chinn from Buck What You Heard, good friend of ours, and we kind of asked him about Baker. But this was making the rounds. Somebody on Reddit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said, "I have a feeling the Bucs are going to be this year's Seahawks, a team that everyone counted out because of a distracted aging star left them and took a chance on a forgotten quarterback that everyone wrote off that surprised with the Pro Bowl season." My question is, have the Buccaneers been a contender too long? Now the Buccaneers are sniffing their own supply, and they're not ready.
Yeah,
to
I mean, you're a fan. I mean, what are you supposed to say? This is what a fan is supposed to write.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah. I mean, Panther fans did this last year, dude.
Yeah.
Look,
We did this last year.
I didn't. No. Don't put my name in that. I damn sure didn't.
Man, I think you had us with a winning record last year.
Bro, I was not on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon.
You jumped on eventually. You did jump on eventually.
I think you said you were never on the
yeah.
Baker train, but you were on the Panthers are going to win the division or some shit.
I thought that we had a good enough team around him that we didn't have to lean.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying here.
No, a Pro Bowl season. Nobody was predicting Baker to be a Pro Bowler.
Well, and can we be
you
honest,
you were
dude?
fucking delusional.
Is being a Pro Bowler the same thing it used to be?
No.
I mean, is it really? Players used to like respect that, want to do it. Like it was a big thing. Now it's like the game is a joke. The weekend's kind of a joke.
Well,
Nobody really cares about
They just
going.
need to eliminate it.
I mean,
They just need to make it like a list. You make a list,
all-pro
of
thing,
yeah, and then
Look,
move on.
I mean,
Seriously,
maybe the game itself, but remember, it's incentive laden. If you get to the Pro Bowl, there's incentives on your contracts.
Right.
At the end of, but also,
but you don't.
Yeah, but right at the end of your playing career, if you get to say you're a 5-time Pro Bowler, like that's accolades. You want that.
I just feel like the players at this point, to be truly honest with you, are like, look, I made $13 million this year. What's winning 250?
Nah, they like.
they want.
What do you mean? What's winning 250,000? That's like a new Lambo or some shit.
Yeah, but okay.
But it's
I think
this.
I think they should make a list, and I think they should like have them where they come out on the field during the Super Bowl and tip their cap.
That's it, yeah. But then that's the all-pro team. That's all that is. This is just being an all-pro team.
Right.
Well, we already do.
Yeah, but then why do you
have
two?
More
why did you have
now.
two anyway?
All-pro.
Oh, well, all-pro is the best.
Yeah,
that's the top position.
But growing up, all I ever heard was Pro Bowl. Now I hear all-pro all the time.
All-pro is the better of the two because you like if you're a Pro Bowler, you can opt out and you're no longer a Pro Bowler. Right, that's the stupid thing about it.
Well, you're also not the best linebacker, right? What are the qualifications? Isn't the all-pro team the best player at that position?
Yeah.
Right? Is there only one all-pro quarterback? There's only one. I don't know.
No, they have an all-pro and then an all-pro second team. So they have a second team all-pro.
Yeah, first team
option.
and second team.
Yeah, so
but then make it the third all-pro bowler team.
Can we like the reason that I like that option better is because let's be real about it. Brian Burns got a Pro Bowl 2 years ago when Hassan Reddick was on the team, and Hassan Reddick was markedly better than Brian Burns that
year. He got snubbed.
And he still got snubbed last year too when he was markedly better than Brian Burns last year.
All right. Let's get into some cat calls, Cody.
Well, we only have one more.
We got one more. Oh, yeah.
Literally only one. We have to wish a happy birthday to the late great Jerry Richardson. He's survived by his illegitimate child. Brenton Burson had a birthday.
Happy birthday. Hey, man, kudos to this guy for being a name people remember, though.
I mean, he was a weird player because he was always reliable, but never stayed on the team.
And always on the team, strangely. He's like always there and not there.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Hell, that was
Nah, he sucked.
that
But
was
you know what? Who
that
cares?
was-
No, he made
that
clutch
was-
catches. He just
dude.
didn't make
That was
catches
Cam
other
Newton's
than
number
that.
one receiver in
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Oh, all right. Let's go. Enough. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's hear your opinion on the team you love.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
I have a fun little question that I was thinking about the other day.
I forgot to unmute my mic.
What is up,
rewind
C3? It is Inbound Panthers here calling in. I just want to have a fun little question that I was thinking about the other day. Who do you think will be the leading touchdown scorer out of these receivers?
Ooh.
Which receiver on our team is going to score the most touchdowns, catching the ball by season's end? Let me know what you guys think. I personally think it will be. Damn, I don't know. I just called in. I didn't even really think about who it would be. The obvious answer, I feel like I want to say it's Chark. I'm going to say Chark, but in the red zone, I'm not sure. I could see Miles Sanders scoring a lot. Receiving though, yeah, I'm going to stick with Chark. What do you guys think?
Stealing.
Peace.
It's stealing.
Yeah, I would just know my
monster.
answer. I think it's either going to be I think it's either going to be Adam Thielen or Miles Sanders.
I think he had like one of his worst receiving yard seasons. He still had like 9 or 12 touchdowns, right? Like, I mean, he's an option. He's got the mitts. He's got the hands. It's going to be perfect. I think the safe answer is Thielen.
Yeah, I just asked the chat. I put Chark, Thielen, TMJ, and go. Those are the 4 receivers.
Or we could have said Hurst. Oh, he said receiver.
Only gives me 4 options.
No, he said receiver.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, maybe you could say Miles Sanders, but
maybe it's Tamir Bird. Maybe it's Baby Bird.
Maybe it is Baby Bird. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
One butt cheek equals 2 feet.
Shut up.
All right, let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? It's JJ.
What up,
first
JJ?
Of all, just want to say congrats to CK for the child. Another lovely person added to this world. Great things ahead of us and you and your family. The other thing I wanted to say was last week Cody had to clarify for the chat that G Baby was black because he was saying N-word in his cat call. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people who thought he was white. Every time I used to hear him talk on the cat calls, I used to think of McLovin from Superbad. I don't know why. I just always did. I thought of some nerd with glasses on, but I still think it's funny to this day that he comes with so much energy and isn't racist. That's a plus. JK, but what are y'all's expectations for the season? I've been saying like around 7 to 9 wins. I'm trying to keep it really realistic. I know we have so much to really look at and feel positive about, but at the same time, you got to remember, this is all a bunch of new things that we're just throwing at the wall and we're just hoping stick. New coaching staff, we spent a lot of money on that shit. We paid the price to trade up. Now we have a rookie quarterback. We don't have like any legit foundation. We just have to hope whatever does good this year is still good. And, that we show signs. I've mentioned a few games, maybe 1 or 2 winning drives from Bryce Young, maybe a few 300-yard games. I don't really know what to expect out of the Panthers this season, but I definitely don't expect us to be like a really garbage team. Like, we're just unbearable to watch or some shit. Like, no, I think we'll be solid, but I don't think we're going to, I really would be too excited and a little surprised if we were good enough to, have 9-10 wins and won the division comfortably. And we were looking like a real good team despite having a bad schedule. It's pretty easy, honestly. So again, just tell me y'all's expectations. Love the podcast. Keep pounding. C3 family.
Keep pounding, C3 family. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and you said you'd be surprised by it, JJ. To me, I have to have it. Like, based on how our team is set up, how our offense is set up, I agree with Greg. Greg said 10 wins is what he wants to see minimal. I said 9 wins. To me, it's around that ballpark. I think we need to be at least a game or two over 500 for me to be like, okay, this was a successful season for the Carolina Panthers. We can build on this. Now, obviously, you have to factor in injuries. Hopefully, everyone on offense and defense stays healthy the entire time. But yeah, I'm gonna need 9, at least 9.
And I want to clarify. I'm not saying that 7 is going to be a successful season. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying
you're more saying what you think we will.
It's a realistic expectation.
I don't even think it's what we will.
7.
Yeah,
at least 7 is
I think
what
we're
stating.
saying. We're walking away from CK. I think CK and I are saying at the end of the season, anything below 7, we're having real questions.
Yeah.
It's like, what was it, Bryce? Is it, like, I think is we could get on this podcast with 7 wins and say, all right, next year we're going to build to 10. Next year, I think anything, but I mean, I would be disappointed in 7.
Absolutely.
I would be disappointed, but I don't know if the original question was disappointment or
what
kind
do we
of
expect? It was started out as like, what do you
expectation.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I expect 10. And the reason why I expect 10 is because I was sold on Bryce Young. We had a team last year. We had Rat Mule coaching half the season. We had PJ Walker. We had Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
And we've got the Avengers squad at coaches now, right?
Right. We were 2 bad calls away from winning 9 games last year. So, no, for me, I expect 10 for what I've been sold.
All right.
I think you're making a compelling argument. That at the very least, Greg, you made a compelling argument.
Here's my counter to that. I think we have a floor and I think we have a ceiling, right? Our floor is 7. That is our floor, and that's where 7's coming in. Our ceiling should be, markedly higher than 10. It should probably be
12.
I would say
maybe?
13, 14 is our ceiling, right? Based on what we have now. But I think 10 falls right there in the middle. I think 10 is a great number to kind of expect and be
9.
hopeful for.
I like 9.
Anything over 500 is a win. I think. 100%.
I think 9 is realistic.
Yeah, 9 is what I've been saying.
I think it's realistic. What I'm saying is I want the team to go 17-0. I believe they could have a very winning. I think that anything below 7, and you're gonna hear shit like Young's a bust, Evero's, we're gonna be replacing coordinator kind. You know what I mean? Like, is that I just want us to. I think and I bet you if we get 7, there's gonna be a large people that come on here and be like, man, Frank Wright isn't the guy.
Right.
So, but I think 7 I could work with. 8 I'd be is okay. 9 I'd be pleasantly happy, and 10 and above is like, hey, we fucking taking over the world.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a fair point. All those good points. Yeah.
Dude, if we hit,
man, we're gonna have to do the podcast regardless,
right? Dude, if 7 games, I'm still gonna be a Panthers fan. Like, it's just I'm gonna be really irritated.
But if we get 6 wins, people are gonna say, bro, there's gonna be legitimate people coming up here that say Bryce is a bust or he was hurt. Something. If you get 6 wins, it's a disaster.
And
it's a
I will
fucking
say,
disaster.
Though, all this for me, like you said, Tony, is barring injury. Like I'm saying this now, but should injuries come up, it does change my opinion a little bit. It's like, okay, I can understand that now.
Yeah, something could happen, but
this is a touchy subject because if Bryce Young gets injured because of a hit,
God.
then I'm not going to expect 10 wins. But I am going to be I'm going to be putting some stuff out there.
That's why below 7 is disaster.
50s, yeah.
Does below 7, like 7 is like we backed into the car behind us, and you got out and shit. It's a little worse than you thought. Like.
And then you try and pull off and your bumper falls off.
6 is like T-boning a motherfucker at 45 running a red light or something. And anything below that is a head-on car crash. Yeah. That's it. All right, let's go to the next goal.
What it do, C3. It's Anthony from Charlotte. I'm calling in right before, about an hour before the show. It's been a busy day for me. Simply just literally wanted to say what's up, you guys. Hope all you guys are having a good day and, everything's going okay in your life. But, this period in Panthers football where there's not much to talk about. It's right after the draft. It's like literally right between OT training camp and the draft. It's like kind of that empty period. But I did want to say it'll be cool to see our rookies, Bryce and Jonathan Mingo, at rookie minicamp this upcoming weekend. Also, I want to bring this up. I know Cody's going to bring this up on the show tonight. Maybe he already has before my call was taken, but I do want to get your opinion on it. I saw some graphic, and it's like top 10 rookies who are primed to break out this season. Bryce Young isn't even on the list. Like, it is crazy to me.
Disrespect, bro.
The NFL, and I said this multiple times, they just don't give a shit about the Panthers. Like, we are going to have to prove ourselves, and I feel like that's when the Panthers have been at their best. We're really going to have to go out and win games this year, man. Like, that's the only way we'll get recognized again. And, like, it's the same thing when the Bears trade went down. Everyone talked about how great of a haul the Bears got. Listen, if you're trading for the number one pick, you're going to get pieces. I mean, it's the number one pick. Like, it's just ridiculous, the amount of disrespect the Panthers get. And last thing I wanted to say, I want to get your thoughts on this too. Something came out on WFNZ with Todd Bailey saying that Bryce Young met with Adam Thielen before the Super Bowl or during the Super Bowl. Dude, I told a bunch of people, as a veteran in your later stage of your career, you don't sign to a team without knowing who the quarterback's going to be. So I always had a conspiracy, and I told a lot of people, and Cody knows this, in one Carolina, my boy John, shout out to him, he made a video on it and crediting me for it. Adam Thielen was following Bryce on Instagram a long time ago before he got drafted. So I had a weird feeling that when he got signed, he knew who our quarterback was going to be. But give me your thoughts on all that. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
I think Chad brought up, just to dovetail it, because we did talk at length earlier in the show about this, is I think Chad in the chat, Chad Howe, also a super fan, thank you for that, brings up a good thing, is that, like, we're not at the typical number one pick, and that, like, we're not a horrible team. We did, like, right. Greg, like when Greg reminds us that we won 7 last year, like, whoa, did we? That kind of like, was it that? Yeah. And then I think that's important. And then I think another thing, just to talk about what the media driven narrative is, and fantasy football is a lot like this. It's just such a recency bias. So they just look at the record from last, I don't know if they're really thinking in the terms of Frank Reich, the coaching staff, the additions made. They're not thinking complexly like that. They're just like, oh, Anthony Richardson running all around. He's going to fucking kill it. Which is probably, I mean, he could have a remarkably awesome, like Lamar Jackson rookie year. Remember that when Lamar Jackson was just fucking running all over the place? It wasn't his rookie year.
It wasn't his rookie year. Remember? No, because they still had Flacco there. Yeah. And so he was there in, like, he would only come in on those third downs where it was always going to be a run play if he came in. But I think Anthony Richardson has the potential to have a great year, but I think that the Colts will still not be a good team.
I agree. I think that's fair.
And I think that's where the difference between what Bryce Young is going to bring. I think this team will be a better team because Anthony Richardson, whereas he might be able to hit some of those, get the explosive plays out with his running and whatnot. If it coming down to the 2-minute drill, I trust Bryce Young getting the ball down the field and making the smart plays.
Yeah. Who has the better season, CK? Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, you brought this up in the chat. I'm going to throw it up and we'll take the next call here. Let's see if I can get this working. Let's go ahead. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Flying Panther. You got me fired up with this shit about Bryce Young being disrespected. Look, man, he's a Carolina Panther. Of freaking course he's gonna be disrespected. I mean, that's just like our brand. That's status quo. Like, would we have it any other way though? Because, when you disrespect the great, you wake the sleeping giant. And I think we're the sleeping giant this year. I really do. I think we're the sleeping giant that everyone's counting out, that everyone's saying, oh, we can beat the Panthers. Who are they? You know who they are? You know who we are? We're the team that's going to send you home crying to your mama. And we're the team that's going to have your mama laughing at your ass. So, yeah, I hope they keep it up. Keep it up. You know why? Because when they start hating, we start dominating. Always remember that. The pundits hate, the Panthers dominate. Anyway, guys.
Wow, wow, wow. Wakanda forever.
Joey's the man.
All right. Next call.
My man Tony Dunn, one and only Cody Lashney, Big Daddy CK,
what
and the Bat Daddy Big Time Boy Toy.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, if CJ Stroud scores identical to Bryce Young, because CJ Stroud scored an 18 on the S2 cognitive test, he scored an 18 while Bryce Young scored a 98. Now, if CJ Stroud scored a 98, would you have drafted CJ Stroud? Because CJ Stroud, I would have picked him until after that came out about the intelligence test. Scary. So CJ Stroud going to be a bust. Who would you, if he had identical scores to Bryce Young, would you have drafted him? And what is the one pick? The one pick, you would have done it differently. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's tough, man. I mean, again, it's hard to say you would do them differently. I think our mindset pre and post draft is always different. Most of us wanted to go edge at pick number 2 for 39. Yeah. We ended up taking a receiver that everybody's really pumped about. So I don't necessarily know, man.
I know what I would do differently. And it's not jammies. Not jammy. No. The DJ. The 3rd round pick?
Yeah, DJ Johnson.
I would just want him to come to us without the trade. Like, I don't even have a problem with the actual pick. Like, it's just like, it just kind of stinks that you had to trade. I just wonder how many people were on the radar. Some people said we're trying to get ahead of the Bucs. I don't know. It just like it just seems straight. It's like one of those. This kind of goes back to Devin Funchess. I think Devin Funchess was like this. Yeah. And that is, you traded up and you could have it felt like you could have just gotten them anyway.
I think
without having the trade up.
I feel like it's a different scenario though, because I feel like you probably had to give away more to trade up in the 2nd round to get Devin Funchess than you did to have to trade into 3. It was like, I if you like the guy and you see what was ahead of you and your belief is that there is a chance that this guy's going to be going away before he gets to me, I don't have a problem with them moving up. I really don't know enough about the guys that we got to make a decision on what I think we should have done differently. Right. I think I agree with Cody. I think many of us were not expecting a wide receiver really probably at all in this draft with the additions that we had in free agency, and the fact that this wide receiving room is honestly feels pretty thick with a lot of potential at the very least. And so the idea of going with Mingo wasn't something that anybody expected, but afterwards the excitement can't be understated because of the potential that guy has to, make incredible plays and really shore up this wide receiving room.
Kev said he's the 2nd best tight end on the team.
Well, I got a question. So do we think that maybe had we not drafted Bryce Young, that Mingo would have been the 2nd pick? And when I say this, I mean like like Bryce Young, as far as size and like giving him the best ability, like get the best capabilities, is
What do you
definitely
mean,
like,
Mango? Do you mean Stroud?
No,
said
I'm saying no, Mingo. I'm saying if we hadn't drafted Young, if we'd have drafted Stroud instead, do you think Mingo still would have been the second pick? And what I'm saying that is, do you think they're trying to surround Bryce Young with as much possible talent as they can, because he has, honestly, in my opinion, he has a lower floor because of his size. Like, that's a big thing.
I like
for
the
me, is
Mingo
his size.
pick.
So that they're surrounding it to kind of hedge that bet.
I don't think the Mingo
You know?
picks a reach. I like.
Well, I'm not saying it's a reach. Do you think we pick Mingo if we pick Stroud? Is what I'm saying.
Probably.
Yeah, I think
if we
so.
traded up to 1 to get Stroud,
so they had nothing to do with each other. It may be. I don't know.
Not to throw this off entirely, but I think it's worth at least exploring. If we didn't trade up, the only quarterback left on the board for us would have been Will Levis. We would have probably drafted him at 9.
Well, Hendon Hooker.
At that point, you know what I would have rather done is just picked another player, and then us go and trade. Let's go get Trey Lance, Zach. What's his name?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, and we'll get Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and maybe there's probably another cast up. Oh, Malik Willis. We'll just get all of those first round picks, like all of those guys, and we'll just be like, maybe one will work.
I've seen this movie.
I'm over the maybe one will work.
I know, but like what I'm saying is think about and we're going to talk about this. Malik Willis might be cut. Some people are forecasting.
We wanted him last year.
I want to draft him number 7. I mean, I'm right there. I was so desperate, dude. I ain't gotten laid in so long. I was like, man.
What if he goes to another team and blows up?
Maybe. I know.
I mean,
but what I'm saying is I almost would have felt better if we would have just punted on the quarterback situation instead of drafting Will Levis and gotten all of those guys and just said, maybe it was a different play. Go through the whole same shit again. Back to his point about the test, though.
Damn.
I know the test was the most recent thing. My kind of question is what happens if Bryce Young wins? I mean, if CJ Stroud wins that national championship instead of losing against Georgia, and then he goes on. I wonder what. I think that would be the stock changer more than anything.
So question for y'all then: if CJ Stroud wins Rookie of the Year, has a better year than Bryce Young, do we lose that pick? Should we pick Stroud, or do you think that we didn't necessarily lose that pick?
It depends upon if Bryce Young did well or not.
Well, but you still need a little bit of time. If you think back to the year that Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert came out, Justin Herbert broke the rookie touchdown record, incredible passing yards, offensive rookie of the year. And I think most of us on the panel and most people would probably pick Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert. So I think you're going to need a good 2 or 3 years before you really see what these dudes are capable of.
All right, let's keep going.
This is Black Cat 95.
What up, Black Cat?
I'm trying to get a message to the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons, but I can't get a hold of them. Would you please relay my message? Keep pounding, bitch.
Hey, keep pounding.
He came back for more. He's coming back for more.
Black Cat 95 again.
What up, Black
Every
Cat?
quarterback that's ever been injured in the history of football was bigger than Bryce Young. What difference does size make?
Okay.
They all get hurt.
Okay.
That's like saying you don't have the stats for Michael Jordan's losses in the finals. I mean, Kev hit me with that earlier, and I was like, "Damn!"
Every person who's been injured in football was a human.
right.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. Sorry I hadn't heard from you in a long time, guys. As my work schedule's really increased, and I've been busy, and I've been going more to the gym and staying in shape. And other than that, I've been keeping up with you guys, but I've just been a day or two after you do your live podcast before I actually get to view it. I've been following close with the Panthers. I'm excited about our coaching staff, the draft, our quarterback. They were heading in the right direction. I think Tepper's learned a lot of painstaking, I guess, he's kind of learned a lot from his mistakes. But anyway, I kind of want to just put this out there. What area do you think we did not address that you would have liked to address? Since Kuechly retired, my opinion is we need a better linebacker. I know we're switching to the 3-4, but there's just something that we don't have that key, strong linebacker that we've always had in the past. Also, I think we need to strengthen the defensive end. Other than Brian Burns, I just haven't seen enough. And I know it's kind of hard to come by a pass rushing defensive end. We sure did miss Hassan Reddick when he left. Other than that, on the offensive side, guys, I would basically say that one thing we probably did not really hit on in the draft, but we kind of did in free agency, is a really nice pass-catching tight end. But I think we could be all right in that area. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to check in. I want to thank Cody for checking up on me. It meant a lot to me that he had enough wherewithal to check on me and see how I was doing. And you guys take care. Bye.
Yeah, man. I realized that we hadn't heard from Chuck in a long time, like a long time. So I was worried about my boy. I realized I had him as a friend on Twitter, so I reached out to him, and he told me a lot of the stuff that you just said in the call via DM. But no, happy to hear it, Chuck. I'm glad you're doing good. Got a new job in the gym. Hey, man, we're trying to see everybody thrive and catch their come up, brother. But happy to have you back a part of the podcast, man. Glad to hear you're doing good.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that your life's going in the right direction, man.
Mine to answer his question, mine is defensive end. Yeah. And I don't think it's through the draft. Like, this is why I'm not upset or with the Mango pick. I think this is why I like the Mango pick so much, is I don't see a second and third round defensive end really making an impact. Like you were talking about, like, oh, give them 3 years for the quarterback. These defensive ends take a long time to develop unless they're great. I mean, think of this, that Cleveland Furl guy or whatever. What was his name? I don't even know if that guy plays football anymore. And he was the top pick by the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders. Or I don't know if they were in Oakland yet. But I think of a guy like Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson came into his skin. He was even beside a great player with Julius Peppers, and it took a little time. Right? So I just think, like, yes, you say, oh, we need this. But, like, hey, we're not completely. Maybe YGM looked fast in that little video where they were doing those competition drills. So, like, this is the year for if YGM doesn't do anything this year, he's not going to be on the team. And I just don't think I don't think getting the Ungole, what is the guy? What was the Clemson? No, the LSU guy.
Oh, you mean
he had a fun name.
BJ Ojolari.
Ojolari.
Yeah.
Was I thinking Ungole? Thinking somebody else. But I think even then it's like he would probably be back up to Marquise Haynes or some shit. You know, so like I think Mango is going to come out there and make an impact. I think so I want us to go out into free agency and get a defensive end. Like if we do that, we're like, oh yeah, baby.
Do you have a preferred target? Leonard Floyd, Yannick Ngakoue?
I want to say the Yannick Ngakoue because I feel like he's younger. And I think the Floyd guy is kind of living off a reputation, maybe. I mean, I think he's good. I want a guy that still has some juice in the tank trying to make some money. Right? So you sign him late in free agency. You give him a deal he ain't really happy about. Kind of like what Hassan Reddick did.
Yeah. I'm not opposed, man. Like, I mean, yeah, I would love another defensive end. Yeah. I wouldn't even mind another defensive tackle, but I think that ship is probably sailed.
They like some of these guys, though. They brought in some super big dude from and maybe, I don't know. They had some guys in free agency that were just like, we didn't ever heard of them that they targeted.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go. Greg, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say two things. One, the Farrell guy you were talking about, it's a funny story. I have a misprint card of him, a rookie card drafted by the Carolina Panthers with a Carolina Panthers patch and everything on it.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's a misprint card. So
we need him to do well.
Yeah. And two, I agree with the caller. My call is linebacker. I just don't have faith in Shaq Thompson. I've wanted to. I really, really want to. I'm not saying he's a terrible linebacker. I just don't think he's the guy. And maybe it probably is that I'm spoiled. I've gone through Luke Kuechly, Sam Mills, Lamar Lathan, Thomas Davis. Like I've had John Beeson. Like I've had some really good linebacker play in my history with the Carolina Panthers. Like Shaq Thompson just doesn't do it for me. Like I wish we would have shored up that spot a little more, but
you know the New Jersey Devils. What was his name? They pulled their goalie tonight as the Canes just laid it on them, and they brought in this other goalie, and his name was Schmid. Schmid. I'm trying to say that Shaq Thompson Schmid.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, can any of us say that we're
Black
insanely
Cat
impressed with
95
Shaq
again. This message is for Cody in defense of Bryce Young. He says we need to defend him. He was too little to play at Mater Dei. He went there and dominated. They said he was too small to go to Alabama. Dominated, won the Heisman. Too small for the NFL. Number 1 pick in the draft.
Bryce Young calling.
The next thing you say, it's coming up soon. He's too little to win the Super Bowl. That's what they'll be saying the night before the Super Bowl.
He can't hold the trophy.
And then when he wins it, I don't know what they're going to say. They have to shut up.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, I've said this before. Bryce Young is a winner. At every single level he has played at, he has won at the highest level. Yeah. Mater Dei is one of the best high schools in the country. Alabama is obviously one of the best colleges in the country. And the Carolina Panthers are about to be the best team in the NFL, bitch. Oh, shit.
Look, the chat likes this call. Chat thinks that's the call of the night right there. I saw this video, and it's one of those things like you feel like a sucker for laughing at something that's just so easy, like an easy joke to make, but you still laugh a little bit. And it was like a video, and it was like little people be like, or dwarfs. And there was that it's like a training montage where the guy's doing the ropes, the little person's doing the ropes, and then they turn it, and then somebody says shoelaces. And then there was this one that was like a toy truck in the yard, like a remote control, and then they're running away from it like it was a monster truck. I just couldn't help but think about like Bryce Young hoisting the Lombardi. Just like this giant ass trophy above him, but hell, I don't care who wins it for us. No, it's gonna make him endearing if he can overcome the size disadvantage. It will become something that people will gravitate to.
Feel good story.
Like kind of like what Patrick Mahomes is a lot of this in many ways. He's kind of regular dude-ish, it looks like. And then he's just fucking amazing. You're like, what the fuck, man? Why?
Dude, if he wins, Disney will make a movie about it.
Yeah, like has he already been? He does look like a Disney TV star.
Disney will make a movie about it if he wins.
Like he's like one of those child. Not even a movie, but like he has his own show, like Bunk or something.
Yeah.
Whatever my kids watch. Next call.
What up, boys? Good evening. Hope y'all are doing well. It's Nick from Seattle. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening. Excited for the schedule to drop. First of all, we got to say congratulations to the new father of the group.
Yay.
It's just such an amazing thing. Being a dad, it's the best thing in the world, best job I've ever had. Anytime you get to high five another dad, it's always great. But being another Panther dad, I wish I could share a cigar with you fellas. Congratulations again.
I appreciate it, man.
One point of thing I wanted to say is being out here on the West Coast is I've had the pleasure of getting to watch DJ Johnson play a fair amount being down in Oregon. And the one thing I can tell you and why we should be excited about him is because Scott Fitterer has been preaching day in and day out about complimentary football. Well, that's what DJ Johnson brings. Brian Burns, as we all know, leads the league in 3,000 missed sacks per game. Obviously, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but that motherfucker misses more sacks than a girl trying to become a porn star with no eyes or hands. So this dude, his pressure's insane, but he doesn't get home.
I'm Googling
DJ
that
Johnson, he's not the focal point. He's not the tip of the spear getting in there. He's the dagger at the end of the play. If you watch the film, DJ Johnson is often that guy on the back side of the play, delivering that last hit to end the play, either on a run, on a pass. He's that last guy. He's always near the ball, but he's solid with his footwork. He makes calculated moves. Now, granted, he's 24. How much ceiling is this dude going to have? By the time he's done with his rookie deal, he's going to be almost 30. So it's really about what we can get out of him right now. As far as Scott Fitterer has been preaching about complimentary football, DJ is a great person to have at the opposite side of Brian Burns. I'm excited to see what happens. Fellas, as always, keep pounding. Have a wonderful evening. Look forward to more podcasts.
And if you don't like it, we'll punch you in the back of the head. Ever heard of the donkey punch, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who has? That's my go-to. What you mean? Yeah. I mean, listen. I like that people. Yeah. Listen. I like that people are pumped about DJ Johnson. I mean, a lot of people are also.
Scott Fitterer is anyway. Do you feel like Scott Fitterer is talking a little too much? Or is that like is he feeling comfortable now in his role? I feel like he's coming out and he's like, oh, he's not going to be our starter day. Like he's really making a lot of personnel. Like
I feel like Fitterer really trusts his own evaluations. And I feel like now with Frank Reich, he feels like all of his draft picks that he makes are finally going to get the opportunity, unlike how it was with he who shall not be named.
I think he really believes in this DJ guy or something. Like I still was floored that he said that he was going to be an important contributor on WFNZ the day, like I was just, and not that he shouldn't say that. It's not even a criticism. It just stuck out to me. Like usually we don't hear these guys. And I was wondering if he was kind of feeling some of the blowback of like the trade up or something, but here's Scott Fitterer. I think, I mean, in one way, it's like he's almost been freed from the cage of Matt Rule.
Oh, it's not one way. That is exactly where we're at with Scott Fitterer. I think Cody hit the nail on the head. The dude has been drafting guys who have potential, and they haven't been able to actually reach their full potential because Matt Rule has this dumb idea that everybody has to earn it. And my belief is, if you are drafted in the NFL, your work ethic in the college is you earning it.
Agreed.
You don't need to just go. Like, I'm not saying you can just rest on your laurels and go into training camp and not care about how things. You've still got to come in and put some work in. But to say that you're drafting a guy in the first round and we're not sure if he's going to be a starter because he's got to earn it, it's a dumb thing to say in the NFL.
It's earning your chance to play, not earning a starting spot, earning your chance to play. Mm-hmm. Being drafted, you should automatically, if you're one of you earn a chance to get to play in the NFL. Like that. That's all there should be to it. You invested, what's the word? You invested into these players. You spent something that you could spend on anybody else. And You're planning on these guys being good. If you draft them, play them. If they don't work out, then take them out. But don't sit them back and wonder if they're going, because you've already invested in them. So go away. Like, why would you buy something? I think
Terrace Marshall is that guy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Why would you buy something and not use it?
Terrace is about to have a monster season. I just have a feeling, dude.
I hope so, man. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Here's the thing, is you have a head coach in Frank Reich who has not had a true number one wide receiver, and now he's got 5 potential candidates for that role. Like, I mean, the dude is going to be looking at these guys.
Could be,
yeah. And so I think it's going to be a big year for TMJ. If he doesn't come out and just blow the socks off of Frank Reich, then I think we can write the ending of his career. But I think TMJ has a lot in the tank, and I think he's about to show it on in training camp and mini camp or what have you. And I think he's going to be slotted as that number one wide receiver come start of the season.
Here's that moment in the podcast where we remember Matt Rule.
He's a fool, and don't I know it?
Yes, we do. Yes,
he is. I've never. I try not to be. Look, I proclaim myself to be a Christian, not a good one, but all Christian. But you want to be a good person. And I might probably have to go to confession for this one. Is like, this is what I'm not really one of those people that wishes ill will, like rooting against you. But I'm I'm going to be watching them Nebraska. Yeah, I'm watching them Nebraska games going, I hope you guys get blown the fuck out. I don't know why. Tell me if we heard this call.
But Cat 95.
Oh, we heard him, but I don't think we heard
the years of not winning, having back-to-back winning seasons are over. And the reason is, well, one of the major reasons is Bryce Young. He's not a loser. You think he's going to have back-to-back losing seasons and not win regularly? No way.
Right.
I'm sure of it. I feel very confident in his ability to do that. And there's been many quarterbacks bigger than him that didn't survive as long as you think they would. Troy Aikman got cut short. Concussions.
Troy Aikman was super.
Let's see, Andrew Luck.
I think he's saying these are
just
big
quit. He
quarterbacks.
got so tired of getting hurt. Alex Smith broke his leg really bad. Lamar Jackson can't finish the season 2 years in a row. And that's just the start of the list. The list is long. We need to quit talking about this crap. Bryce Young's a winner. We're going to win a lot of football games. He may or may not get hurt. That is the same for every single player in the league.
I like this call. He's already sharpening his Twitter sword. He's ready to go to battle for little Bryce Cream.
That's how we need to be, man. We need to be
call him
protective of
Neapolitan.
our little guy.
Look, I get it, but I cannot ignore reality. Like I said, I believe in it and I want to see it, but that is not a fair statement that injury is the same for every player in the NFL. No, it is not. Being bigger, having more muscle mass, having better bone density does increase your chances of taking those hits and not getting injured. That doesn't mean you can't get injured, but it definitely increases your chances of not getting injured. That is a false statement.
CK brought up something earlier though when it came to Cam and it's like the torque and the thing. So in some cases, maybe you could say those things can be being big can be detrimental.
I think being big it can be a big detriment. You know,
with Cam, we couldn't make a pocket big enough for him. It's like he would take a 5-step drop, he'd be back at the fucking in the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he would definitely take big drops, but I also think, again, going back to an argument that I made, in previous shows, is when you have more mass, you're more willing to take the hits, right? When you have I think I would almost disagree that if you're smaller, you're hurt more in the NFL. Robbie Anderson hasn't been hurt. You have guys like T.Y. Hilton until the end of his career weren't getting hurt. There's a lot of guys who were young, who were smaller, who weren't just going out there and getting hurt constantly because they're getting down, they're going down, they're sliding. They're not taking those hits because they're having to play smarter.
We're not going to need him to be the warrior, right? It's like, how about this? If Bryce Young doesn't jump on that football, are going to be all the memes with Cam? Remember the Cam memes? Like,
this is not fair.
He's going to be like Eli. I mean, he needs to be like, remember Eli Manning, man? Anytime any pressure, he would just crumple. He would just go down. He's like, I'm good. You don't need to hit me. I'll just go down for you.
Nope. but this is another down.
This is not a fair argument, though, because one, there's so many things that go into this position, how many hits you're going to be taking, this and that. Two, okay, of course there's going to be a smaller number of smaller people that have gotten injured, because if I have 2,000 players and 1,700 of them are within 6 feet or above,
sure,
there's only 300 that are below that, of course there's going to be a smaller number.
That's not my argument. I'm saying you have a higher percentage of people who are smaller who still seem to be healthy in the league.
Well, we're also just saying this anecdotally
because there's a smaller percentage of
percentage
people, of course.
Percentage.
There's a smaller percentage of people, so of course there's going to be a higher percentage of people that does stay healthy because there's a smaller percentage of people.
True. No, I'm talking about ratio. We're talking about per capita. Like if you're saying if there's 2,000 players and 1,700 of them are bigger than Bryce Young, then yeah, there's going to be a higher percentage. But what I'm talking about is from the perspective of if you're considered a smaller statured player, we can pretty much bottle all of them into the same category. It seems like a large portion of them can remain healthy because they're probably playing smarter because they're not taking the hits that they don't want to have to take.
That may be true, but I'd like to see that stat.
I would
because
too.
I don't think that number would be significantly higher.
I'm not saying higher, but I'll be honest with you. The argument of size is still valid, right? I am more concerned about size from how he's going to be able to navigate the pocket and see the receivers down the field, all that stuff. I think that is a bigger concern.
I'm the opposite.
Than his
I'm
injury.
with Greg on this. Is like I'm just worried about him. I'm not worried. We'll just see it. Look, we're all gonna hold our breath the first time he gets just rocked.
And you know what? I said a couple weeks ago, I don't want a quarterback I could take in a fight. I'm not gonna lie. I looked at a picture of Bryce Young earlier. I couldn't take him in a fight. There's no way. I couldn't take him in a fight. So he's a little bulkier than I thought he was. He's not by any means, enormous, but he's, he wears his weight well.
I want Bryce Young. That's what I want. I want my Bryce cream. I want my Neapolitan ice cream. Go ahead. I'm the guy that will take a little bit of every flavor in there. Give me the strawberry, the vanilla, and the chocolate in the same bowl while everybody else is over there moaning about how they don't want the strawberry to touch this and that. Give me some Bryce Young. And Cam Newton taught me a lot of lessons in life, right? And some good ones. I think people forget that is one, having a quarterback that to chart my course to makes my life better. Bryce Young, you're our captain. Oh, captain, my captain. We're charting our course behind you. I will follow you. Wherever he will go, I will follow him. The other thing I learned is this, and it's hard for me to say this because I make some judgments in life, dude. I think this is just human. We make what is it when you like a preconception, like we make judgments beforehand. I think Cam Newton taught me this with fashion. I love Cam Newton. I dressed up like a grandma Cam, and went to the games in this mug. I learned with Cam, don't judge, is who cares? Let this man be. And this is going to hurt me to say it. Let Bryce wear his Crocs then.
Yeah.
I hate Crocs. My son comes down. All these kids, they love it. They're just fucking. You know what? I'm changing my position. Wear your fucking Crocs. You love your Crocs? Wear them.
Dude, everybody says they're hella comfortable.
I don't care. I'm not wearing them.
Have you hit that old man moment in your life, Tony, where you've gone out with socks and sandals on?
No, man.
Because I haven't. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty comfy.
But I'm weird. I'm a weird foot dude. I'm not a foot guy. And I won't wear flip flops. I don't like people fucking with my toes.
I don't really
like you fuck with my feet. I'm like kick in the face. I don't like that little thing between my toes. Some people wear. I do get a little annoyed by people who live in flip flops and like it's like, how do you just always wear this shit? They're like, it's like snowing outside and they're like fucking walking around in flip flops. They're like playing basketball. I saw a guy go to the gym in Crocs the other day. I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? But hey
man,
wear your Crocs. Wear your Crocs. I mean, no, Cam taught me that. You want to dress like a grandma? Dress like a grandma. You want to be normal and eat Neapolitan ice cream, Bryce Young? Eat your Neapolitan ice cream. I love you.
Be the flyest grandma while eating your Neapolitan.
Isn't the only reason you buy Neapolitan, though, is to get the strawberry? Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just buy chocolate or vanilla? Like, the only reason to buy Neapolitan is for the strawberry.
I think the only reason you buy Neapolitan is because it's sold. It's like,
no,
it's just like it exists. Like, I don't think it's like it just exists. Like, nobody asked for it.
You're probably right. I got variety in a big tub. I'm taking it.
You buy Neapolitan to bring to a party where there's a bunch of people and everybody gets a little bit of something they want.
And there's a bunch of strawberry left over at the end. Always a bunch of strawberry left. And it always is shit ice cream, too.
And you get pissed off when you get that cut of the chocolate that's touching the strawberry, you know? You got a little bit of strawberry in your chocolate, and you're like, damn it.
My kids like strawberry shit. Like, I took my kid through the cookout line. We were early picking his sisters up, and he don't like to cook. I was like, all right, you want to go get a milkshake or something? He's like, yeah. And he ordered a strawberry milkshake. I was like, okay.
It's classic, though.
Chocolate.
Strawberry milkshake. I mean, mint chocolate chip is the best milkshake, but, strawberries.
My wife loves mint chocolate. But I'm just saying strawberry. There is a group of strawberry people out there.
Yeah.
In the world. I'm just not part of it, really. But, sometimes when I have a strawberry flavored, like Jolly Rancher or something, they're pretty good.
Strawberry Pop-Tarts? They're good.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? I think grapes are really good.
Strawberries.
But you know what? Grape flavored anything.
I agree.
Is terrible to me.
I agree. I like grapes.
Well, you are white. Now you just verified you're white.
No. I love actual grapes. But dude, when I was a kid, every medicine was like grape flavored. So whenever I have something grape, it's like, oh, this has a medicine taste to me.
Like
Yeah,
Jägermeister. That's what I think of Jägermeister. I just think of cough syrup.
Ugh,
And my 21st birthday. My kids are really bad with medicine, guys. Like fucking, like to the point where they bring it out of the anger out on you. Like where you're like, fucking drink the shit, motherfucker. Like guys, I'm like screaming at my son's pinching his nose. All over this, and then try to get them motherfuckers to take an aspirin. I'm 15 years old. He looked like my aunt was like this. You had to melt it down like she was a fucking heroin addict in a spoon. Just swallow the shit.
Hide in the cheese. Yeah.
Your husband's so disappointed in life.
Or just put it in a pill crusher and put it in some applesauce or some shit.
Pill crusher, they have those.
Yeah,
man. I just call that what are those things?
Called a spoon.
Mortar or a
just crush it.
What mortar and pestle?
Yeah, mortar and pestle. Yeah.
Yeah, and but aren't there some? You're not supposed to do that with all medicines, right? That's what you grew up with. This is why all them.
It's gonna dissolve in your body. It's gonna dissolve in your body anyway.
No, some shit's time released. That's like how all the heroin addicts got on that oxycodone. They licked off that time release thing, and then they just.
I didn't think about that.
Go watch Dope Sick if you want to cry and be thankful. The best thing old people got going for us is we didn't grow up in the 2000s where we were in high school and people were doing that shit. Thank Jesus.
Hey, Jake the Snake says he couldn't stand bubblegum flavored ice cream. I can't stand bubblegum flavored anything, or not bubblegum ice cream, medicine. He said, "Yeah."
Is there a bubblegum flavor? Really? Because isn't bubblegum usually flavored? So like this is
there's an original bubblegum flavor, like the
original,
pink, yeah, like the pink flavor,
the one that runs out of flavor in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it's just
it is good for 2 seconds. All right, last call.
There's a couple of things that are.
Hey, this is White Chocolate
That's why you got a baby.
Calling from Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, I used to live
Best of the Carolinas. But anyway, I just want to say congratulations, CK and his baby girl. That's awesome. Everything's great. That's awesome. I also want to congratulate Cody for finally the Carolina Panthers drafting a Clemson player. I'm happy for you, buddy. But my question is,
draft?
News is we might be playing Kansas City in Germany in 2024. I want to see what y'all's thoughts on that is. Is it good for our fan base? Is it good for the team? Even though we're not playing, I think it's a home game they're taking away from us. So I don't know. Let me give y'all thoughts on that. Again.
Oh, we're going to Germany?
South Carolina.
Yeah, we're going to Germany.
Chicken is gross. Bojangles is gross. It's a gross chicken.
Get out of here. That's why South Carolina sucks. Bojangles is fantastic.
Charleston, South Carolina all day. Peace.
What did he say? Bojangles is gross.
He said Bojangles sucks.
Just
He's
lost
crazy.
so many people.
Do you? I think. How about this? Is what is more over? Let's and maybe not overrated. I don't know what the right word for this would be. Which is better, or which is more coveted? Like something that because what I think he's saying is that Bojangles he was so hyped, and then he got it and it didn't live up. What's more? Well, Bojangles or Chick-fil-A? Which one is? Which one lives up to the hype as much?
Chick-fil-A is way overrated. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's fucking fried chicken.
Are you going to tell me you would take Bojangles over Chick-fil-A?
Hell yes, I would. You know why?
Because
I could eat for a week of Bojangles.
You know what? But Bojangles has the worst chicken sandwich.
Dude,
the Bojangles chicken sandwich is whack.
Dude, Chick-fil-A is fucking delightful.
I thought you don't like waffle fries. You don't even like waffle fries, bitch.
Yeah, I don't go for the waffle fries at fucking Chick-fil-A.
To be fair to Cody's point, I ate at that Bojangles down the street from his house. It isn't great.
Well, that
dude. Yeah, dude, I've been.
All I know is
and every Chick-fil-A runs like a well-oiled machine, bro. It's like a Ferrari.
And the service,
they do.
When did you ever get better service at a fast food restaurant than Chick-fil-A?
They should run the country. They really should just run the country.
But tell me,
it's not even close.
Here's the thing: is I get the worst customer service at most Bojangles. But I still go back because it's that good.
Yeah.
I fuck with Bojangles. The chicken sandwich. All right, I got a chicken sandwich at Bojangles, like when we were in the chicken sandwich wars. Do you remember? Like, because everybody was trying to who is it? What's the one from Louisiana? What's the Cajun? Other Cajun?
Popeyes.
Yeah, and remember there were lines around the planet,
like people getting murdered.
Yeah, and then
sandwich is good though.
Hey, by the way, worth it.
Yeah,
worth
it is.
Dude.
It's
Fucking,
pickles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
legit.
a fucking
It's
great
legit.
sandwich, dude.
So
Dude,
I got one at Bojangles, and it was the biggest bust. And I was like, "How the fuck did y'all fuck up a chicken sandwich when you're a chicken place?" That one bothered me. I watched this. I was watching this YouTube guy, and he's a YouTube culinary guy, and he's out of California, and he likes to recreate shit, like, you know, like, hey, we're making the Chick-fil-A sandwich today. We're making the taco, whatever. Taco Bell, whatever, Crunch Wrap or something. And he sent his kids to go get the Chick-fil-A sandwich. And he was like, this shit is boring, bro. And it made me think for a second. I was like, man, I love fucking Chick-fil-A, but I put my own mustard. It's just mustard and mayo. You put your own mustard and mayo on it. Chick-fil-A is like great for a football game. Like they just pass them around. Somehow they live in those little bags that are perfect.
Their spicy chicken strips are bomb.
I like their spicy chicken sandwich.
How much is that combo? $14.95.
Yeah, and everything's like that now, dude. Everything's like that now.
Their chicken deluxe sandwich is.
I
mean,
get 2 ham
Popeyes
sandwiches
is
at
number
Bojangles for
one.
$3.
But when it comes to
Popeyes
chicken
number one?
sandwich, when it comes to like sandwiches for sure. But also like number 2 is Chick-fil-A.
See, but y'all are missing it
agree
though.
with
Like
Kev, man, I kind of think Bojangles. If you're from the Carolinas, you have an affinity for Bojangles.
And the fries with the Cajun
it
seasoning.
doesn't
The
really
bomb.
what do you order at
man.
Bojangles, Cody? What do you order at Bojangles?
I mean,
I'll tell you exactly what I'll order.
I either get a box of like the Supreme style chicken,
Okay,
or I'll
that's
get
good.
or I'll get the chicken strips with like 2 different sides, like mashed potatoes and gravy.
Do me this
and
favor
some
next
mac and
time, buddy.
cheese.
Do me this favor next time, because I've gone to Bojangles. See, I'm 39, probably 32 years. In my life, I've gone to Bojangles, and I don't think I've ever ordered anything else other than this.
Get
a Cajun filet biscuit.
That's what my wife gets.
Just get a Cajun filet biscuit, man. It is the absolute best thing they have there, hands down, and best bang.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah,
that's what my wife does. Mayo, mustard, but it's the
good.
same as Chick-fil-A's. This is just a chicken sandwich. It's just on a biscuit.
The biscuit,
the
biscuit.
I
Is
got
where
the.
it's
I think Bojangles has the same problem that KFC has for me. Is every time I step outside the box of a side that's not French fries, it's disappointingly small. So it's like, hey, why is it that you're going to give me 10 pieces of chicken, KFC, and then you give me this like teaspoon of mashed potatoes? Like, it's always like, why? I don't get it. Like, you get a family meal and they give you a little cup of mashed potatoes. Like, hey, everybody gets one lick of the spoon. My go-to, this is breakfast go-to. This is good at Bojangles. Steak, egg, and cheese biscuit.
Really?
Hot sauce on it.
You gotta have
whatever that
Everything
steak
hot
is.
sauce,
It is
yeah.
not steak, by the way. It is not steak.
it is not.
Whatever it is, I don't know what that shit
Kangaroo.
is, but I love it.
Can we also, just for a moment, we'll take a step away from the food. It's absolutely the middle of the off season when we're sitting here talking for 10-15 minutes about food.
He asked about
That was
Germany,
what we took from his
too.
call was Bojangles.
He asked about Germany.
No, he even put in the chat. He's like, I asked about Panthers in Germany, and y'all are talking about.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
It's
far more
controversial.
interesting.
Bojangles is controversial.
Yeah.
A lot of teams, like somebody said somebody put Jack in the Box or something like people have favorites. They go to it. I think again, I think Chick-fil-A is phenomenal, but my main criticism is like if you don't get a chicken sandwich, there's nothing else.
It's very limited.
It's like what else do I like? Oh, I want to. You can't even go non-fried option. It's like, what's the non-French fry option there? It's like
they do have grilled chicken.
What am I, child?
They have chicken noodle
Here's your
soup.
applesauce, motherfucker.
They have apple slices, chicken noodle soup.
You get a cookie with that too?
I know.
Oh no, that is one thing. No, dude,
Vanilla
the Chick-fil-A, The Chick-fil-A cookies are terrible. They are hard like cement. You cannot eat them, dude. They
Who
will
even
break your
knew that
fucking
they
teeth.
had cookies?
Well, you know what? Bojangles cookies
Your
are not
boy.
bad. Do you
You
know,
know who
why?
got
They
good
don't have
cookies? I don't know if they still do it. My McDonald's had the good warm cookies you could go through and get 3.
No, Subway is
Hey,
the
yo,
best. Subway has the best
C-Dog,
cookies. Otis Spunkmeyer
C-Dog
cookies.
knows what I'm talking about. Waffle fries are terrible, bro. If you the only way they're good is you have to get them while they're hot, and even then they cool off in
But isn't that all
2
fries?
minutes.
Yeah,
No,
all fries are
they're
bad
not-
cold.
no, they're like cardboard the moment they go cold.
But not even just that. You have to eat them with like a sauce. Like you can't just down them. Typically, I can at least. You have to eat them with like a Chick-fil-A sauce or their buffalo sauce. or something
Bojangles
like
got
that.
great French fries.
Yeah,
Bojangles
do.
French fries.
Bojangles,
are
I don't need to
so-
dip in anything.
They can
Same
even
with
be
McDonald's
cold and
food.
I'll eat
I
them.
You
will
need to
tell
drink
you,
with them
though,
because they're so salty.
Chick-fil-A sauce, dude, I can fucking drink that shit from a tap. That dude, it's,
My kids, the Polynesian
good,
sauce
bro.
around here
That
is what
Polynesian
everybody
stuff?
goes nuts.
I like the avocado ranch. Dude, I'm basic, bro. I
Their
don't-
buffalo
If
is
you
leaves
just
a lot to
said
be
you just
desired,
said
though.
I like avocado ranch and basic
Man,
in the
I'm
same
basic,
sentence. Shut
yeah.
the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm a basic
bougie ass
bitch.
bitch.
Kristen's
Yeah, I'm
right.
a fucking
Subway has the
bougie
best
ass
cookies,
basic
hands
bitch,
down.
dude.
All right,
Wait, who?
let's go through
Oh,
the
yeah,
news
Subway.
real quick. Let's go through the news just because a couple of things I want to touch on real quick. Thank you guys for supporting the C3 Panthers podcast. All of your calls, lots of stuff. Even when we thought we were going to get there before midnight, we can't. This is a wild.
Oh, and before you start, white chocolates is boxcar badges.
I never had it. I never had
who,
it.
Who has that?
Never even heard of it. Actually,
No one has ever had boxcar badges.
Was it like only in Clinton,
It
South
keeps
Carolina?
on
or some
telling
shit?
me. It keeps on telling me to try it, but I don't know.
Okay,
And avocado
yeah.
is basic, Kristen.
No,
It
it's
is-
not. If you're on the
it
West
is-
Coast,
Now you're like a hipster if you eat shit with avocados.
what?
Yeah, you're like it's like you're a basic bitch. You're a hipster.
Oh, the guy, by the way, that the guy
It's like
on
trendy food.
the YouTube guy, like his name is Sam the Cooking Guy, and he's been doing. But
Oh, I've seen him. He's awesome.
yeah, it's cool. I learned about avocado oil, which is like an alternative to olive oil. Really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when you read about it, like it's like the same health benefits. So neat.
Avocado
but that's what
is a superfood.
I love avocado. But guess what? You know what? There's not good news or good news. I don't know how to classify it. Is it
When
good
you get
news to
acquitted
not
of
be
rape?
present at a rape, or to? This is Donald Trump. Didn't Donald Trump just have to pay $5 million and not rape somebody?
Yeah, I heard. I don't know all the.
I don't. I
details
haven't read about it.
it.
I just saw David Portnoy tweet
Yeah,
about
I'll
it.
just
But
say 2 things. One, her ass should be in jail.
She should be
It-
in it
who?
if she's not.
Donald
person
Trump
who-
lady?
No,
the
the,
person who
fuck
accused
that.
this
The
guy.
woman that accused Matt Ariza, literally, he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills. He went to San Diego State. They were saying he had the biggest leg in all of college football. He was like, they're calling him the next Megatron punter. You know what I mean?
And like that one black punter that nobody will pick up, and he can punt it over the moon.
Yeah, what was his name?
Yeah,
But
he's
not
still
even
on.
like, dude. Look up clips of Matt Ariza. Like the dude has a big time leg.
Did she not get raped at all?
Well, I
But,
don't know
Or
that.
was he
no,
just
now-
not part of it?
Now they're saying that she admittedly had multiple sex partners on the night of the event when it occurred, and he wasn't even there
Victim shaming.
at the place. He wasn't
Okay.
even there. So, dude, if you're gonna make these types of accusations about someone and they end up being false, you need to do time. I'm a firm believer of that.
But again, to be fair to the process, and this is, again, playing devil's advocate, I agree that something this egregious should result in especially if it is without question that it was false. The problem is that you start to put those types of, those
Onus on the victim.
right? Like if it's said that he's not guilty because there's not enough proof to say that he was actually the guy, right? Then all of a sudden now there's starting to be this conversation of should she be, persecuted? So all these women who get raped, might actually not even go and report it because they're afraid that if they can't prove it, then all of a sudden now she's going to be jail time, right? So it's a give and take, right? I think there's got to be a middle ground that we have to find ourselves in. But if I'm being honest with you, I think there has to be, especially in situations like this where she said somebody was there and there's proof that they weren't, then there has to be repercussions because if there aren't, then this is going to continue to be a problem.
I think the way we could probably find the middle ground, CK, is not even having to put the repercussion, like focus so much on repercussion on the person who makes a like. Maybe we should just not hurry to judgment as much. And what I mean by that is to also be understanding of people who are in victim, like, like not being unempathetic, but maybe this is where the Bills put him on the commissioner non-exempt list type of thing.
Yes.
And where it's like, hey, you know what? This is such a serious accusation. We can't just let you go out there and play and say we're going to let the justice system work out. But at the same time, we do want to make sure that this is handled in a fair, whatever. So you have to find a way is like, hey, I might not go out and buy your. I wonder if this might be, you kind of wonder what's happened with that Marvel dude, the guy that was in Apollo 3. Like it's
Jonathan Majors.
Right. Like I'm not saying
talking about recasting.
Right. And so I'm not saying that these people we should just wait like for the wheels of justice to turn and they should keep to play or something. But I don't know if I feel like so many times we're so quick on the internet to just make a judgment, and the damage is already done, right? So that's the problem and this is the thing.
Well, it was just last year. He might be able to get on another team.
Right. But Tony, you also, I may have misunderstood you, but were you saying you think that you shouldn't put fear or say you're going to enforce judgment for somebody who falsely commits this?
No, what I'm saying is like, if we need to find a fall guy in this, then we're going to always be losing the battle. What I'm saying is maybe as a society, what we should be is just a little more cautious to.
He's saying that we shouldn't be canceling people because it's an innocent until proven guilty society or, legal system. So our society should match that. Here's my suggestion. But also not that we shouldn't care. Like if you murder someone and you're just waiting on trial, I don't want you at my house either, though.
Well, here's the thing. The fear of the penalty is what prevents somebody from faking it. Because the thing is, if you actually did get raped, and I absolutely, like, you're not going to lie about it. So you wouldn't have fear of penalty for lying about it.
Well, what about that lady that just got the Trump thing, man? And I don't care, and I don't want to go. We don't know. All I know is that supposedly Trump was sued just like this past month or something, or at least this is the first time I've heard about it. How about that? First time I've heard about it by a woman who is a journalist who said he raped her in a clothing store dressing room in 1995. And then they said, at least this is just all according to a tweet I read by David Portnoy, so I don't know. Right. But it was like they said that this didn't happen, but he still owes her $5 million. So I don't know. It's like at this point, I don't even know. I would say it's just be good motherfucking people.
Can I read this comment by Kristen Delane? She says, I agree. As a woman, it's 100% shameful for false accusations against a man, especially because most victims stay silent and these clout chasers do more damage for women in the long run. That's the main point.
Can I tell you the solution, in my opinion, in this case, is there should be required with an innocent until proven guilty legal system, right? That's the legal system that we're supposed to be upheld to. We've seen multiple people who have lost their careers because of these accusations that have come out to be false, right? In Hollywood, in sports, in real life, I'm sure that we don't hear about on a daily basis, right? I think that there should be a similar protection to FMLA for anybody who is under investigation or accused of these things until the hearing has been concluded.
That's my point, CK, is the commissioner non-exempt list.
I can see that.
Right.
The problem is, like you said, the damage is already done mentally. You can't. It's like when you tell a jury to ignore that, they can't ignore that. They just heard it.
Sure, but here's the thing: is if you go to court and you find out that and it comes out not guilty, then it's all of a sudden these waves of oh my gosh, we made these wrong. Talk about the guy Rick and Morty guy, right? He got taken away from his own production company. He got taken away from Rick and Morty being the voice for one of the guys in Rick and Morty. I can't remember the guy's name because I'm not a follower of that show, but dude, the charges were dropped because they were false. Right, they were false, and he's lost everything. And so when now that they've been dropped, everybody's like, "Well, we need to add him back. We need to do this. We need to do that." Well, they've already moved on.
There was some more shit about him, though. Apparently, there were text messages that he would send, real creepy text messages to 16, 17-year-old girls, and he had been doing it for a long time. So he's not the best example, but. No, that's the main point to me is that you make it harder for actual accusations to be taken serious when you make up these lies and say this shit. And thankfully, Matt Ariza is young enough and is still in his prime.
We'll see. I don't know if I would even touch him. Then I would think it's.
I want the Panthers to go get him.
Oh God,
go get him. Why?
The man's reputation is tarnished for life. The real AP said. I think this is just another example. Is the misprint is on page 1 and the retraction is on page 13.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. What's next?
Yeah, we have a lot of this was just rumors, and this is going around that Pat McAfee is contemplating leaving his $120 million FanDuel deal, and ESPN is the leading candidate to be his new home. Now he went on his show and said that they're never going to change. They're too dumb to change or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of people
say right before they change.
Yeah, a lot of people were, dude, that Disney money hits different. You might think that you're willing to turn down that money. Oh, dude, then they give you that fat check. You're like, bro, maybe I should stop cussing. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. I think it'll fundamentally change that show. And by the way, sayonara to Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. If that's what he decides to do, there's no way that's going to continue.
I have mixed feelings about this, and my initial feeling here is, this would be a short-term win for him. Like you're taking the money now instead of building your own empire in a sense, right? Because you're going into the corporate world. On the other hand, I wonder if this is exactly what ESPN probably needs to do to stay relevant and maybe start pivoting away from television. And still, what if they just kept him a YouTube thing and they got to let him be who he was? I think the problem is they are owned by Disney maybe, but there's ESPN is going to die unless they change. And so in some ways, I wonder if Pat McAfee is the future of ESPN, and the future of ESPN isn't on television, but on YouTube.
He's their Bryce Young.
Here's the thing that I will interject. One of the things that Pat McAfee had talked about in one of his shows previously, and it was a small part of the whole thing, but he had said that, it's his, I'm up to something, little announcements that he would do on his show. He had talked about he's got a baby now, right? They just had their daughter as well. Just a few days ago, and the idea of him having to constantly focus so much onto the business side of things, it's becoming
just be
difficult
the personality.
The idea of being a family man and being the same person he's been for the past 10 years
Just
to try
hire
to build
a
this thing
CEO
up.
then.
Well, he's got a guy who's a CFO that helps him out with the money side of things, but having to get guests on his show, having to do all these different things to try to promote the show. They don't even advertise, right? And so all of these things, he's looking at this from a perspective of if he does show up, he's able to spend more time with his family because he's not having to deal with the business side of things. And I think that's where, he may not be willing to change previously. He might be willing to now if it means he gets to spend more time with his wife and daughter.
Okay. I think that's whack because if you're getting paid $140 million, you could just hire people. You could hire those people. But I get what you're saying is, look, you walk into the made infrastructure. You just walk in. You just got to show up for work.
And the deal, by the way, that we're going to hear coming from this is probably going to be so astronomical that the $120 million is going to be laughable. That's what I got a feeling.
It's going to be like $500 million or some shit like that.
Kevin's saying he's leaving YouTube. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter though. Even if he's on YouTube, whatever content is going on ESPN, they're not going to let him be swearing and saying all the dumb shit that they say, dude. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And CK even said you could see when they went FanDuel that they even like dialed it down some.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is the thing. You become legitimate. You work to where you know this is where you wanted to get.
You have to play by the rules.
All right, is that all we got in the news? We got anything else?
Yeah, man.
Oh, one other thing is Malik Willis getting cut.
Yeah, he might not. They're saying he might not make the 53-man roster. I would love it.
This is egg on my face right here. I wanted
some. Mine too. I was loving Malik Willis, but also, like, you just want to know what happens. Like, is it him? Like, is he just not picking up the NFL game? Is it the coaches just not giving him a chance, not giving him an opportunity? I don't know, man. I think we might never know either. But I would love to know what causes a player to go bust like this that fast.
I mean, can we draw a parallel to our own situation with Matt Corral potentially not being on the roster this year?
The fact that we have more we also have 3 quarterbacks. And you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything about them wanting to get rid of Matt Corral.
Sure,
but you're hearing it about Malik. So no, I don't think it's a great comparison.
Okay.
But it depends on how it ends up going.
Oh well, I guess they did. I forgot they went Will Levis.
Yeah,
I mean, they gotta cut him at this point. You can't run it all.
Tannehill too, or at least trade Tannehill. He might be in Atlanta. We'll see.
Is that it?
Yeah, that is all for the show, I think. Oh, no. Travis Kelce's mom and Jason Kelce's mom, she was basically kind of loose-lipped on Twitter and went out and said that the second game of the season is going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles, week 2 in Arrowhead. So I just think that is funny that the Kelce's mom is like just as famous as those two are now.
Right.
And she's like releasing news and shit like that. But all right, now that's actually it.
All right, we got one final segment to do. It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's the Ice Up segment. Let's get into it, Cody.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our moment where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up to get it together. Everyone's fair game. It's our homage to Steve Smith. And that's where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, get it together. Guys, I got to just say that, well, one, I thought I was going to do Patrick Mahomes' brother. What's his name? Jackson Mahomes?
Jackson Mahomes, yeah.
I saw the video. I just saw the video of him like planting on this girl. It was so stupid, but he looks like he's from Whoville. I like this one though. This tweet said, "Call the wambulance."
0914. Congratulations.
This is the New Jersey Devil fans leaving after the.
Head out to Just Jason.
No, they put the crying filter on him.
Oh, is that what it is?
Okay.
Is that a filter? Oh, that's a filter?
Oh, wow.
It's not even.
I believe it. Can't believe anything, Tony.
Ice up, Tony. Can't ever trust the internet.
I mean, it's still pretty damn funny, though. The fact that
It was convincing to me, man. I thought the girl was in tears.
So if you're gonna go to a coffee shop, and you feel the need to vomit, don't slip on your own vomit, dude.
Oh, it's insult to injury.
He felt that in slow motion.
Man.
Just
the fact that somebody went to their security cameras and recorded this is just like
oh yeah.
insane
I
to
would
me.
Nobody's helping him up.
I have two more. They're all short, all really short. Then we got this one. So if for whatever reason you find a live grenade, don't pull it in your car, dude.
200 метров по оружию. Я с оружием нормально обращаюсь. Are we about to see somebody die? Yep. Oh, they left it in the car.
That was the after of the car. Dude, what if the guy filming didn't get out of the car fast enough? Like dude, he just dropped that fucking grenade.
It was ever meant for himself.
Out, bro.
Sorry.
Yeah, dude, that
no
was
falling on that grenade for your brother.
No, not at all. And my final one is and I don't know what country this is in. Dude, if you're gonna rob someone on the road.
Oh, I saw this one.
If you're gonna rob someone, well, there's a bunch of them now. I don't know if this is the one you saw, but if you're gonna rob some, or kind of, if you're gonna rob someone on the road, come up with a better plan.
Entonces, ahí, bueno, ese es un regalo sin duda bastante especial. Y ahora, por otra parte, la familia Pérez.
Wow. he got sandwiched by the poor guy stuck at the door.
I love that.
What quick thinking.
Yeah, they noticed. Look, they noticed that there was some shenanigans right when they saw the person. So look, he's got a hood on, he's got a mask. Boom! Just runs them, dude.
Yep.
Did you hear?
I love it. Yeah, dude. I love it.
Like literally shut in the door. You know, like somebody. You ever seen somebody's finger get? And it's like in there, and they like his whole body was in the.
Dude, I love it when people get a taste of their own medicine. So, to everyone involved in my picks tonight, ice up, son.
Holy shit! I'm gonna pull. Go ahead, guys.
You go ahead, Greg. You got one?
Yeah, I got three short ones. Okay, I played baseball, and there's a very, very important rule in playing baseball about protective gear that you should wear.
I was thinking about this one, but I didn't because I felt like somebody was going to use it.
Yeah, so we're going to watch this video here of why you always wear your cup.
The dude breaks for second. Zunino's throw into the runner.
Just watch.
Right on the
Are you out?
Dude.
Are you out?
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, he's
You
out.
got hit by the ball, you're out.
You got hit by the ball. You got hit in the balls by the ball.
So yeah, he's to him ice up, like literally ice up, because he definitely needs to after this.
Really
there's another one right here that I want to show. So the royal coronation, new king. And this blows my mind how anything like this could happen. I don't know if y'all saw the story or not about the yard trimming. Apparently somebody mowed I will not show it, a giant penis in the yard.
Yeah, dude.
Which means that somebody had to get out there, cut this, and get away with nobody noticing.
It almost looks like they put grass killer instead of cut it.
But more importantly, if you saw this happen, why wouldn't you just cut the rest of the grass?
If it's all right, so if the grass is cut, then it's a circumcised penis. If it's dead, if it's grass killer, it's uncut.
That's a good theory. And then the last one right here. So I have the fear about Bryce Young being small, and I want to show you what it looks like when a 5'10" guy gets hit by a 6 foot whatever 300-pound guy. Just to be always a possibility. Tell me that size doesn't matter. Here we will share.
That's what I've told every girl I've ever met.
This is a cornerback who intercepts the ball.
Oh, this shit's pretty wild. I'm worried about this young man.
Interception, and now he's got a return.
Oh.
Dead.
That's what happens when a 5'10" guy gets hit by a. Yeah. So
I mean, to be fair,
my
it
theory
also
is
kind of
legitimate.
seems like he didn't necessarily expect that hit coming.
No remorse.
No, but I
dude.
mean, you have hits all the time in the NFL you don't expect coming. That's kind of the ones you usually get injured on, the ones you don't see coming. So just saying, I want to put that out there. So I don't even know who eyes up on that. To be honest with you, it's just a fun video.
TK.
Mine's a preemptive one, and I'll explain, but I want to kind of put it out there. So when you guys talk to anybody really, but businesses in particular, and they say something like, we're going to do something after this date for you, we're going to call you back at this time, we're going to do this or that, do you guys get the the immediate feeling that's never going to happen? Because it usually doesn't. In my experience, so for instance, working in the industry I do, when I say we're going to call you back around this time, the problem is we get busy, we forget all these different things. It's almost a certainty anytime that's happened that somebody said they're going to call me back at a date 2 weeks down the line, or especially if there's an issue or anything like that, right? So when during the draft day, or the day before the draft, I put a tweet out about having the new baby on the way, and this is, again, not saying that it's not going to happen, but it hasn't yet, and I haven't heard anything. The Panthers told me to reach out with my address, and they're going to send something for the baby.
They did?
No.
Oh, nice.
Well, they said that.
No,
yeah.
they said that to you. Okay,
and so I messaged them, and I gave them my address. I'm like, thanks, I appreciate it, guys. And they said, we'll put something together after the draft. And when they said that, I immediately had that gut feeling of,
they're gonna forget, man.
No, they're not. So so you're kind of in this weird, especially with something like that, where I can message them and say, hey, where are you at with that free shit? Or just let it go and just say, it is what it is.
Just take
right?
the win. Yeah.
Right. So that's where I'm at, but it's preemptive. I'm icing up the Carolina Panthers media team for the most likely forgetfulness.
We're gonna ice you up when you get it. When you get it, we get
if I get it, I will be thrilled and I will let everybody know, and I will eat that crow. But the moment that I heard we'll do it after the draft, I just knew that they were going to be so busy with trying to do the draft stuff, the schedule coming up. I was like, there's just no way they're going to remember to do that.
Right. CK, what's the biggest lie you tell in your field? Have a nice day.
I'm
just kidding. You said, I just was playing off of you saying things that we know aren't going to be happening. It's like,
right.
I always make my joke is like, someone says, how you doing? And I'm like, you want me to say fine, bitch. You do not want me to really tell you what's going on in my life. Pull up a chair, motherfucker.
Nobody pleasantries.
Kev in there in the chat going nuts. Somebody said this in the chat. They said, ice up to this. Here's a shout out to your wonderful South Carolina. Ark Hutchinson broke both of his legs, was left with brain bleeds in a crash that killed his wife, 34-year-old Samantha Miller. They were married just 2 hours before the crash. Jamie Lee Komorski, 25, was driving 65 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour per zone when she ran into the back of a golf cart. God.
And that was the golf cart was
the wife is the one that killed
died.
Him?
No. They were just married. They were in a just married golf cart with little cans dragging behind it, and some drunk person ran them over.
Whoa.
Another testament of your worst day of your life.
That's brutal.
Dude,
it's heartbreaking, dude. But no, Tony.
You're a douche.
Ice up, Tony. Ice up, Tony. All right, that's the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. It's the longest running Panthers podcast because even when we don't have things to talk about, we still go to 12:21 at night.
Yeah.
Go watch Blackbird on Apple Plus. I watched that if you like serial killer dramas and shit like that, which don't love them. This one was really good. Acting Dude, the guy that played the homicide guy or the serial killer is phenomenal.
He's good in everything, dude.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of things. I couldn't place him, but he's been in some.
He was in that movie about the security guard or the police officer who found the bomb, and they were like starting to think that he was
in Atlanta, at the Olympics.
Yes, and and where he found the bomb, and they were like, it's just too coincidental, and all this stuff.
He is really good.
He's incredible in most everything that he's been in, but he's got that type. He's that type of an actor where he's like, if you were to meet him out and about, you'd probably think he was a weirdo and not talk to him.
He was great in it. It was very good. All right. My name's Tony Dunn. Follow me at @cat_chronicles. Join the gang. Gang color process blue. You can find us on Twitter using the hashtag C3. Put in your bio. A lot of people putting it in their bios, putting in a name. Cody Lack, my man. Good to see you. Good to hang out with you.
Yeah, man. Find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Growing C3 Nation more every single day. And find me on Draft Tech, Panthers Analyst. And every Friday at 7, you can join the show, be a part of the action. C3 Friday Free for All. A lot more intense than this. I'm always breaking up fights on Friday. Good Lord, it gets crazy in there. But don't be scared. Come be
like
a part
a mosh
of it.
pit of fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elbows out, folks. Elbows out. Greg, the Bat Daddy, Stat Daddy, how are you? Or where can they get after you? Should I say?
Oh man, just check me out at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. You can find all my stuff. Geeks Chasing Squirrels live Friday 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All kinds of fun stuff. And coming soon, I'll be having an Etsy store where I'm doing all kinds of fun cosplay stuff, memorabilia, trophies, trinkets. If you're a collector, hit me up. I'm doing 3D printing stuff soon, so it'll be fun. And probably some C3 Panthers podcast, vinyls, shirts, all kinds of good stuff. So we got a lot of stuff coming up.
Hey,
I do. Yeah.
CK.
You can find me at Codizzle Allen on the Twitterverse, and I go on there and post pictures of my baby, and occasionally once Panther stuff happens, I'll repost it and whatnot. But go say what's up. I've got to find out what happened with Tuan, by the way, what the comments were saying. I didn't get a chance to watch the Friday Free for All, so you guys got to fill me in.
Yeah. All right, Cody, take us out of here.
C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.
Go Canes.